One, what up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal, getting both applications on par. President Trump, right before the Supreme Court. Now, we know that the Trump trial with Alvin Bragg is continuing on their schedule, but nevertheless, the Supreme Court has also began entertaining arguments in regards to President Trump seeking immunity. So we're going to be talking about exactly what is in the news today, and that is President Trump seeking immunity. Now, there's a few areas we need to discuss this from, predominantly Jack Smith. Immunity would eradicate anything Jack Smith is doing. If Trump is granted immunity by the Supreme Court, the entire effort of Jack Smith is going to be reduced to rubble. So right off the bat, we're going to be talking about this from a standpoint of immunity, but also it could put a fly in the ointment for Fani Willis down in Fulton County, Georgia as well, because remember, she's going after Trump for the fake elector scheme. So we'll see how a lot of this is above just about all of our legal education. I get it, but that doesn't stop us from discussing this, because many of us have an opinion on whether Trump should be granted immunity or whether this was even acting in reverence to being president at all, particularly January 6th. Now, many believe that what happened on January 6th was a peaceful protest. Trump had not one thing to do with what happened at the Capitol building. I get it. But others have a different opinion. So if Trump is somehow deemed criminally responsible for what happened on January 6th, will the Supreme Court suggest that no, what he was doing was acting in concert with the office of president and thereby should be granted immunity from it? What came up during the Supreme Court's hearing was President Obama using a drone to kill an American that went over to the Middle East and was acting on behalf, I believe, of ISIS. Was acting on behalf of ISIS. We've had a few Westerners sympathize with what ISIS, their whole entire message, went over to these countries and actually joined the outfits that we believe are terrorists and fought on their behalf against Western forces, including the United States. Well, Obama has been deemed responsible for killing one of them. So when we say immunity, doing things that would normally be against the law, because it is against the law for the president to order the assassination of another American. And that's what President Obama apparently was granted immunity for. But, or better yet, that's what was discussed there. But what about January 6th? Do you believe the president's actions on January 6th were acting on behalf of this nation, acting on behalf of the office of president? Keep in mind, many believe that Trump thought democracy was under attack, that Biden, the liberals, were stealing the election. So as president of the United States, it's his job to defend democracy, to protect the integrity of the election, and therefore that is what he was doing on January 6th. So we're going to be discussing it from that aspect. Was he acting on behalf of the office, or was he committing a crime? Others would say he was told by damn near everybody he talked to that he had actually lost the election in 2020 and just refused to accept it, and decided to do whatever the hell he could to remain in power. So that is the two aspects of that. And last but not least, do you believe the Supreme Court should grant Trump immunity? Understand, granting Trump immunity can be viewed as a Pandora's box. Once the immunity box is open, other folks in the future can fit through that box. That is not something specific to Trump. It also means that any president in the future could literally do January 6th all over again and be deemed unaccountable for it. So understand that this is not just fighting for Trump. This could literally pertain to any president in the future. Once you open up the immunity box, anybody else in the White House can fit through that opening. So we're going to be talking about it from that standpoint. Last but not least, a side topic. Side topic. Which party do you believe operates on the best interest of the working man or woman? The working man or woman. Which party? Just if that is a solo topic, if that is something you are a single issue voter pertaining to, which party works better on behalf of the working man? We'll talk about that and why. So you know how the program is always run. It is MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. Always will be MAGA friendly. MAGA is my preferred guest. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. That's how the program works. So understand when you're in the box, in the comment section, you don't have to agree with a damn person in there or the host. Nick, thank you. Nick always shows up. Nick, thank you. Thank you very much. Starting out right. So we're going to be asking those two questions. Starting out, go straight to the comments. Alter Ego, where is your sweater? It's almost 65 degrees out here, Nick. I think we need to get rid of Democrats and Republicans and become Americans. That would not change that. Getting rid of Democrats and Republicans and becoming Americans is just like granting term limits or something like that. The next group of people would find out a way to reassemble all that over again. It's going to come back. Just like if you get rid of government then and let the people rule, then you will have certain people who will take roles of leadership and essentially start forming government all over again. That's just the way it works. Going straight to the box, asking that question, should Trump be granted immunity? Stick the ruler. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Stick. So, immunity for the former president. Immunity for the former president, Stick. What say you?
I really think that no, because again, if they want Trump to have immunity, that would mean Biden would have immunity, and they could never be held accountable. So Biden could do the same thing, put fake electors out there, and any other thing, say people, and he would be immune to it. So why would you want that in the sense of that type of power to be out there, known to the world that they could do that?
Yeah. So you do believe
on that one. I just say no.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
So you do believe if they grant Trump immunity, it could cause problems in the future?
Definitely. I mean, like even right now, I trust Biden enough that I believe that he could take this country and put it in the right direction. But hey, let's just say he becomes somebody else when he finds out that Donald Trump has immunity and he could do whatever the hell he want to do. Biden could turn into a totally different person. This is the Biden that we're dealing with now under law and order. We don't know the Biden, just like we don't know the Trump that thinks that he could do anything he wants. You know what I mean?
So are you saying that? Are you suggesting that if they grant Trump immunity, President Biden could literally turn into Dark Brandon?
Yeah, real quick. He could say kiss my ass on the Verisma and his son. Like he could say, my son's basically a prince. You know what I'm saying? Like take them charges off of him. Like right now, the Biden that we're dealing with is the Biden that's humble and or in the sense of he to a certain extent respects the law.
Yeah.
You never want anybody to basically know I can do any damn thing I want to and can't nobody touch me. So basically, if we give Trump immunity, he could find the prettiest young girl he wants to and just do a Saddam Hussein and say, hey, come with me. And ain't nothing nobody can do about it.
Wow.
Ain't nothing nobody can do about it.
So why do you think if it opens up the door to immoral acts that are that atrocious, why do you think MAGA overwhelmingly thinks he should get immunity?
Because in a sense, MAGA doesn't care about the immorality. They say most of MAGA is built up of evangelicals and Christian folks. Mm-hmm. And I don't know any Christian folks that are cool with SA or are cool with cheating in the sense of election interference and different things like that. Most Christians understand that God is all powerful and he's the only one that has the say. Yeah. Whether your life goes good or bad. You get what I'm saying? He's really the only one that has the say. So when they look at Trump as a deity and they have pictures of him, you know, or God kneeling to him or vice versa, him kneeling with God and God on his shoulder and all of this other crazy stuff, Jesus on his shoulder, it's too much. It's too much.
Does Trump, now you're mentioning Trump and religion. Does Trump strike you overall as somebody that is very religious, really religious in nature?
Trump, only thing he praises is money. Let's just be honest. The only thing that he praises is money. He don't praise people other than himself. He praises money. Well, Putin is a billionaire. Think about this now. Putin is a real billionaire, worth $200 billion, right? He praises the billionaire part of Putin, all right? Okay. Number one. Number two, he praises that Putin has a strong hold on his people and his country, and they do what he says, and he's the sole controller of the country. These are things that Trump praises. So if you think Trump praises God, who is in actuality the creator of all things and in control of all things, you're kidding yourself, because he feels like he's the here and now. Putin is the here and now.
All right, well, let me ask you this week. Perhaps while we're focusing on this immunity case, there might be more important things. Now on YouTube, Marcus Stanley says, I think there are a lot more important things that are going on in this country that need our focus. If they want to start looking at who does what wrong, the Democrats got much more going on. Are we focused on the wrong thing? Is perhaps the Democrats the ones that are committing all the crimes, but Trump getting all the attention?
Well, I would say this. If Democrats was committing all the crimes, then it would be a lot more Democrats on trial right now. It wouldn't be just Trump. But the reason Trump gets a lot of the attention is because Trump is the ex-president. Yeah. Trump is the loud mouth. Trump is the one that wants you to know he's on trial. It's not like we got an inside source that told us, before the courts told us, before the judicial system told us. He told us, I'm going to be indicted on Tuesday. So,
He did do that.
Okay. So again, he put it out there, like everything that's going on, as far as he could go to court, be quiet. Now the falling asleep part, if they reported that he fell asleep, that was big because he's normally a loud mouth. He's normally, you can't control his mouth, But
I think the only reason why reporting that Trump fell asleep, and by the way, court is boring as hell, so I can understand anybody falling asleep. But the reason they reported Trump falling asleep is because he made such a big deal about others doing it. So it becomes a case of you getting a taste of your own medicine. If Trump wasn't going around calling people sleepy and things like that all the time, I don't think that would have made it would have made news, exactly. But it wouldn't have been that much.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
So that's my point. The reason why they caught on to him sleeping is because he called President Biden Sleepy Joe.
Yeah.
So again, the allegations that you throw at people, you're actually is telling us this is the things that you do. Like seriously. And this is what I always say about MAGA. Like every MAGA accusation is a MAGA confession.
Oh.
So exactly. You see how that works?
So you believe everything that MAGA accuses liberals of, they're actually confessing that they do that themselves.
Yeah, MAGA, they attach themselves onto the LGBTQ community in the sense of they say they're so against it, but then we find out. Sorry about that. Then we find out we got Republicans that are, the same thing, and they're unaliving themselves because people found out that they were part of that community.
I have heard that.
And then you got, Lauren Boebert at the Beetlejuice concert, you know what I'm saying? you know, doing what she do. Then you got what's the girl, the three toes, God dog,
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene showing, naked dick pics of
Hunter
my boy
Biden.
Hunter.
Yeah.
So I mean, but you're the law and order. You're that's the GOP. You're the law and order. But everything is wacky. You know what I'm proud of? This is what I'm proud of. I'm proud of Joe Biden telling the Speaker of the House what's really going on. After they got that meeting, he came back out and he had about 5 bills he wanted to pass because now he knows exactly what's going on and what the American people needs. So now they want to oust him.
Yeah, I got to move it on. But I think that the Speaker of the House, I think his job is in jeopardy now for sure because he's working with Biden. I think his days are numbered. But Stick, appreciate you coming on as always. Answer that call, by the way. Yeah. Answer that call. Okay, moving on with the program. Democrats are responsible for everything they accuse Trump of. Does it work that way too? It's a good question. What are the Democrats accusing Trump of? You think they're guilty, or they should be guilty of everything they're accusing Trump of? Trying to steal the election is one they're accusing Trump of. Perhaps you're saying the Democrats tried to steal it as well. We know Trump and Maga often says that. What else are they accusing Trump of? Being immoral, not being religious. Okay, all right, we'll talk about it. Moving on. Biden is shelling out all our tax money to foreign countries. I don't know if you can just blame that on Biden at this point, because there were so many Republican members of Congress that voted in favor of it as well. Not MAGA. MAGA's not down with it, but that was bipartisan. That was not a liberal entity. I mean, Biden signed it, but there was a lot of Republican support. So getting the program underway, going back to the box, tap the screen. 700 plus of you in here. Get me on up to 20,000 likes. Helps out the algorithm. Brings in more MAGA, because that is what the FYP is. Nevertheless, liberals come as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Same on YouTube. Tap that, or better yet, smash that like button, I think is the terminology we use on YouTube. Smash that like button. This is an uncensored program. It is, always will be MAGA friendly. Trump is not a bad father or man. It is his behavior that has ruined his reputation, says Jew Caribbean Sauce. Star Trek, yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. I kind of, that's not a bad statement. Trump is not a bad father or man. Well, I mean, what is a good man? Because when you factor in Stormy Daniels and things like that, is it pop? Because that's a husband, by the way. That's not a man. That's a husband. But can you be a good man with the likes of Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels and all that in your past? Does that still qualify as being a good man? I'll let you answer that. Everyone would have their own different opinion. Going back to the box, but Trump is a decent father, a good man. It's his behavior. I agree with a lot of that. I do believe the behavior is probably Trump's biggest detriment, as opposed to his policies or how he ran the country. I don't think that was that bad. I do believe the behavior and the name calling probably hurt him more. But you folks are entitled to have a difference of opinion. United we stand. I love it. USA. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. United we stand. Trump being granted immunity. First of all, do you think any crimes were committed on January 6th at all? United, good afternoon.
I believe that words are powerful, but I also believe individual actions are paramount.
Fair enough.
Just because somebody tells you to jump off a bridge doesn't mean you're necessarily going to do it. And if you're listening, then you're the fool.
So let me ask it to you this way. When you see how folks acted on January 6th, some of them supposedly committing crimes, do you believe Trump told them or gave them an inclination that he wanted them to do bad stuff?
I haven't seen anything that shows that he inclined them to go do bad stuff. Mm-hmm. And if that's what they heard, then they need to be prosecuted and then get some psychiatric help.
Yeah. So what about the notion that for the most part, MAGA was peaceful and it was all instigated by the likes of Antifa, Ray Epps, the FBI, or even Black Lives Matter? Do you believe that MAGA, for the most part, is not responsible at all for what happened there that day and other agitators did most of the work?
If there were agitators there, which there may or may not be, I don't think it's been proven on either side, then no, it's not just MAGA. And to throw all of MAGA into one pot and say they're all agitators, that's like saying all men are bad and all women are greedy.
Right. Well, now you're saying there has not been any proof that there were outside agitators. You believe, let me just ask it to you this way. Do you believe that gathering was mostly MAGA?
I believe it was mostly MAGA, but I also believe most of those people were peaceful and intended peaceful congregation.
I agree with that. But what happened at the
come there to cause harm? And I think the whole thing just got really blown out of proportion. And I know some of the video clips that have been going around, and I've seen them and I've watched them, but that's a piece of a story, not the whole of the story, and we don't have the whole of it, and we may never have the whole of it.
Well, let me ask it to you this way. Why do you think they were there to begin with?
To peacefully protest.
What were they protesting?
The election, of course.
Okay. And what did they think about the election that led them to want to protest it?
Some people believe that the election was rigged and stolen from Trump.
Okay. Has there been any, you mentioned you haven't seen enough proof to suggest people were agitating. Have you seen any proof at this point that Trump won and the election was stolen?
No.
Okay. So the folks
absolutely not.
All right. So the folks that were there protesting that the election was stolen, where did they get that from? They don't have any access to the election. So what led them as a single individual voter to believe the election was stolen? Where did they get that from?
Mr. Mouth himself.
Okay.
Who can't stay off of social media and can't stop running his mouth.
Okay. So.
And can't stop insulting people and using bullying tactics. It's just disgusting.
Now, is it safe to say, I thought you were MAGA.
Sir, I am a moderate conservative. I am not a full-blown MAGA, but I will tell you this. If it comes down to being able to choose only between Trump and Biden, I'm voting for Trump.
Fair enough. So up to now, considering that we are discussing January 6th, do you feel confident that, I get that you don't like Biden. There's a hell of a lot of people that don't like Biden. But do you think Trump has done anything wrong, whereas maybe if another candidate was running, you would pick them over Trump, you just don't favor Biden?
I don't favor Biden. It's just like, if Kennedy makes the ballot here, then I'll probably be voting for Kennedy because he's a moderate liberal.
So you would pick Kennedy over Trump? You
gotta stay close enough to be able to reach across and work together.
So
these extreme lefts and these extreme rights, I do not agree with them.
Okay, so you would pick Kennedy over Trump?
I would.
Wow. Now, out of the other 9 that was running, the likes of Vivek, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie.
I really like Vivek. I do.
What's the difference between him and Trump?
Vivek is a little bit younger, a little bit more appropriate.
Yeah, but you're saying
a little bit more concise. He's not as divisive, I guess you could say.
I don't see. Now you're saying you don't like the extremes. I have not heard of a single policy that Trump promoted, up to and including banning abortion and even not certifying the election. I have not heard of anything that Trump has promoted where Vivek said, I wouldn't do that.
True.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
But
basically.
I think Vivek is more balanced with his approach as well.
How so?
It's not that nothing's truly good or truly bad. But again, you have to be moderate. Nobody's going to agree on everything at all the time.
Fair enough. What about Nikki Haley?
I think she's a warmonger, and I would know.
Really?
Anyone who gets up there and goes, we need to strike back. No, we don't need to be feeding your checkbook right now.
Wait. What did Nikki Haley say that led you to believe she's a warmonger?
Well, when Israel was fired upon in October, she immediately got on there and started banging the war drum.
Wow. Okay.
And it was just like, no.
Nikki Haley Award. That's the first I've heard of that. So let me get into the first time I've ever heard somebody suggest that Nikki Haley is a warmonger. But what about the immunity claim? Do you believe Trump, in regards to what they're now litigating in the Supreme Court, do you believe President Trump should be granted immunity?
No, I do not.
Hmm.
I think people should be held accountable, including presidents.
Wow. Okay, and I definitely agree with that. But I mean, he is seeking immunity. So at the end of the day, though, you don't believe he did anything worthy of charging him with a crime on January 6th. You don't believe he
I don't know. The courts will figure that one out. I believe in innocent until proven guilty. I'm not going to say he's guilty. I'm not going to say he's innocent. We're going to see how this pans out and what the courts decide. That's why our judicial system exists.
Let me ask it to you this way before I move it on. You suggested that you certainly ain't voting for Biden, but many who support Trump has said they would not vote for him if he was convicted of a felony. Now, you said you'll wait and see what comes out in court. If he loses in court and gets convicted of any of these cases, would that change your decision to vote for him?
Absolutely.
Okay. Wow. What about?
I'm sorry, I stand by my morals, principles, and beliefs, and I know they're kind of scattered because some are conservative and some are liberal.
I think you're somewhat reasonable, though. I don't think you're unreasonable. I think you're not, as you say, you're partially MAGA. First, when you said that, I'm thinking, are you talking like you're kind of pregnant? But no, you're making it. I think you're making a reasonable case.
And that ship sailed long ago.
But I do think you're making a reasonable case. You support Trump over Biden, nothing wrong with that. But you're not diehard Trump no matter what. It's all a witch hunt.
And I look forward to the day that both of these people are out of that system.
Okay.
Gone, and we can open up to different options.
Okay. Now, someone in the comments asked, what about the SA case? Talking about the E. Jean Carroll case. Do you think that she made all of that up?
I think enough doubt has been cast that it should be reevaluated.
Okay. Do you think he defamed her?
Well, if somebody if somebody is truly falsely accused, I would want to say, no, that person is lying.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he said he didn't know who she was, had never been with her. Let me skip it over to another one. He suggests also he had nothing to do with Stormy Daniels, never slept with her at all. Do you believe that?
There is an article roaming around, I have not validated it yet, that she sent to Trump stating that it never happened.
Yeah, she was paid $150,000. Why would a woman out of the blue just send me a letter saying I never slept with you? There has to be a reason for that, right?
Well, and she's been claiming that she was under a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA.
Yeah, why would somebody pay you money out of the blue? That's like me just, writing you I need you to write up a letter saying you never slept with me. I give you $150,000. And we didn't have anything to do with each other. Why would that happen?
I don't know. The whole thing is sus.
Okay.
The whole thing is sus. Anything around Trump is sus. I mean, he is a 1%er. All of them have these weird things in their past. They're not angels.
Fair enough. And Karen,
the difference with him right now is the fact that he is a former president and a presidential candidate. So this is a lot of mudslinging instead of dealing with the issues at hand that our country is going through.
Yeah. And last but not least, Karen McDougal is another one he says he never slept with. Think it's possible she's making it up as well?
It's always a possibility that people make these stories up. It's always a possibility. And if they make them up and that is discovered, then they should be charged with a crime. This is not a joke.
Well, he didn't violate her or anything like that. It just sounds like he cheated on his wife and wanted to keep it under wraps. But based on what you're saying, it's a possibility that he never.
Which white person hasn't cheated on their wife?
Well, he said he didn't do it. He said he did not do it.
And it's a he said, she said situation.
So you're leaning toward he possibly may be telling the truth and he didn't sleep with any of these women.
Possibly.
Okay. Fair enough. I got to move it on,
Possibly.
United.
All right. You take care, as always.
Anytime. Thank you. Moving the program on. Wow, I don't know. $150,000 in her pocket. A letter in my pocket said we never had any intimacy. And I'm on television saying, I don't even know who this woman is at all. Never been with her. That's pretty damning in my opinion. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would ever have a letter in my possession from a woman saying, you know what, I never slept with him. Why would I even want? I don't know. It sounds suspicious to me. Her husband is at the neighbor's house. Team Cawthorn. Be nice to the guests. Her husband is at the neighbor's house, covering it up, making people think one thing may have gotten him the election. True. I do believe that is what Pecker is on trial saying exactly that they were using a National Enquirer to cover up stories that may have been harmful to President Trump during the 2016 election. Keep in mind, this is what MAGA accuses Biden of doing. Using the likes of Mark Zuckerberg, the social media site formerly known as Twitter that Elon Musk now owns, having them cover up stories or squelch stories that may be harmful to the Biden campaign in 2020. This is what MAGA has accused Biden of, and I believe there's some validity to that. That does seem like that happened to a small degree. FBI had them, silence. They had them silence a lot of folks that may have been speaking out against Biden. But I'm not going to aim this at Biden and pretend like what this guy Pecker is saying didn't likely happen as well. It sounds like both of them were doing it. Going back to the box, they're the most trusted, they're the most trusted by the government to fix election machines. Unifier, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm not aware that any election machines are broken and need to be fixed to begin with. I think in regards to Dominion, the overwhelming majority of that stuff has been proven false. In fact, I heard now that Rudolph Giuliani in the fake elector scheme has just been indicted. Poor Rudolph Giuliani. If there is one person that literally gave it all for President Trump, he probably gave more than anyone else. And I'm talking even more than the likes of Mike Lindell, Kanye West, Sidney Powell. A lot of them folks really, really bought the farm for President Trump. But Rudolph Giuliani, that fall from grace is substantial. Going back to the box, Bamboo Brews, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Every case against Trump will drop off. Every single case has no merit. I don't think they're going to drop off. I think the goal is to delay them. If every case against Trump drops off, you know what has happened? He has now become the 47th president and found a way to put folks in office that are doing just that. So it could happen, but it will happen under his control. Bamboo, good afternoon.
Brother Tim, I'm batting 1,000. I done made it in here twice.
Oh, okay.
I was on with you yesterday. But listen, I wanted to bring your attention to something. There was a case in Texas a few years back. A young white man, he was underage, drinking and driving, hit a family, and unalived them on the street while he was
This
drinking.
Isn't the affluent cases.
Yes, yes, exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Wow.
And that's what Donald Trump suffers from, affluence. He don't think that he's responsible for anything that he does because of his financial status in life. He thinks that the sun wakes up when he wakes up, the moon goes down when he goes to sleep, and that the world revolves around him. Wow. And that's why he moves with the brashness and the boldness that he moves with, because no one has ever challenged him to say, hey, I don't care how much money you have. I don't care who your father is. You can't do that. You can't say that. My mother said to me, I told you I grew up in Baltimore City. Mm-hmm. My mother said to me when I was 12 years old, I was arrested for trafficking narcotics.
At 12?
I was 12.
Well, I'm from Chicago. That ain't nothing surprising. Yeah, that ain't nothing surprising.
Hood, man.
Yeah, that ain't.
So
Thank you, Fred.
So I got arrested. I wasn't actually doing those things at that time, but the company I kept, the boys that I hung with, they were doing it.
So you got arrested essentially for affluenza on the other end.
On the other end, exactly. So so my mother said, birds of a feather flock together. You're judged by the company you keep. So if you go around telling people that you grab women by their private parts, then when someone comes along and say you SA'd them, how can you not say that you didn't? When you paint a picture of yourself as being this womanizer, you cheat on your wife, you say horrible things about women. I have 5 beautiful daughters, and I would never think to say that if one of my daughters wasn't my daughter, that I would possibly, form a relationship with her. You don't say things like that. And so as a man, I take great pride in being a man. And as a man, I control what comes out of my mouth. Even if I think some things, even if I think a woman is beautiful or I'd like to, be with her, I keep it to myself because I have a beautiful wife. And Trump had,
Well, like you said, though, if you don't have any accountability, if you can make it happen, why not? Because Melania Trump was being interviewed by the late, great Barbara Walters, and she asked Melania, how did you meet Trump? And she told her, like, we were on a date, or better yet, he was on a date with another woman. He snuck and left that woman, came to me and asked for my phone number. And Melania said I was hesitant to give it to him at first. She must have got access to his ATM receipts or something. But anyway, she later gave him her phone number, and that's how they started talking. But he was on a date with another woman when he approached her. That's what Melania Trump even said.
Right. You lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she had to experience this while she was, in the midst of just having a child. Here her husband is out, sleeping with another woman.
Yeah, but listen to this. This you mentioned accountability, and I got a comment in the comment section when we were discussing that. Gandalf History, who is a friend of the program, by the way, Gandalf said it was a date. Donald wasn't married to the chick, so he left a woman he was on a date with to talk to Melania, and I guess it's not that bad because he wasn't actually married to her.
Right. There's a thing about character. Character is not so much what you do when people are looking, it's what you do when people aren't looking. Yeah. So if nobody's looking right now when you're just dating, who cares, what happens when you're married? And so, whether he's guilty or innocent, he created the environment that he's in right now. And so when you create it, you make the bed, you have to lie in it. He made this bed that he's a sexual or SA predator. He made.
Well, how did he make the bed he's an SA predator? Because he and many that support him are saying that was just locker room type talk, and that E. Jean Carroll is just on a money grab. How do you respond to that?
Listen, I played high school football, semi-professional football, and a short, brief stint in the CFL. And I've been around athletes all my life. I have never heard anyone talk about SAing a woman in the locker room. Yeah. We have never discussed that. We may have talked about women we like and we like to go out with and we like to get and the things we might like to have, happen with them, but we never talked about SAing them. And so I'm sorry, that whole locker room analogy or that whole, scapegoat thing, that doesn't fly with me because I'm an athlete and we don't talk like that,
Yeah, I gotta say, I've had my share of locker room talks. Hell, I've led some of the conversations, and I've never talked about committing a crime like that. I mean, and I've also said, when you got Trump's money, you don't need to make up stories. Whatever, if you got that kind of money, you can do whatever you're saying you're doing. So the idea that you would have to make it up doesn't make a lot of sense.
And I'll say this final thing and let you move on with your great show. When you hang with people on private islands like Mr. Epstein, and and the things that are going on there, and you make these comments, and you put yourself in there.
Wait, you said Epstein. You don't think he did anything with underage women, do you? I'm certain
he probably did.
Wow.
I'm certain he probably did. It's the whole when the whole thing with Bill Cosby came out, you have to remember, I think you and I are both probably around the same age. I'm 55.
You got a couple years. Yeah, we're close.
And so, back in the 70s and things like that, those parties, women went there. I'm not justifying it or saying it's okay, but they went to these places knowing that, that they were going to make certain kind of moves if they had to, to advance their careers or their status in life. And drugs were involved, and so they all got involved.
Even underage.
And underage girls were there. They were, they looked older, but they weren't necessarily, old enough. And so things happened. Not that it was right, but you gotta, but that's where your character comes in. And to the lady's point, about the people, the MAGA people who were at the protest. Some of them said when it looked like, these were interviews that they gave. They said when it looked like it was starting to go awry, I went home. And that's the difference between those who...
The good and bad.
Yeah, those who committed the crime and those who claimed MAGA but didn't do what MAGA did. When they saw it going awry, they said, you know what? It's time to go home because this is not right. And I have respect for those people because, we have our opinions, we have our views, but if you see it's not going right, okay, it's time for me to roll. I'm not a part. I didn't come for this.
Well said. I could not agree more, Bamboo. Thank you for coming through the program. Day 2. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for always having a good platform, man.
Absolutely. And I agree with what he's saying because I brought this up even because, Black Lives Matter riots and things always are compared to January 6th. Personally, in my opinion, I think they're two different universes. But a lot of people compare to January 6th and Black Lives Matter. And I say the same thing. If you're at a protest and somebody sets a car on fire or something, it's time to leave. If you're a peaceful protester, the minute they start talking about, pigs in a blanket fry them like bacon, I think is what they were saying in Minnesota about killing cops, it's time to leave. If you stay from that point on, you're down with the program. So when they were climbing over barricades and climbing up walls to get in the Capitol building, I don't care if people letting you in, people who are letting you in, from folks say that when the cops let them in, you see dudes on the side of the building climbing the damn wall. You know this is not normal. If you go in there, you're down with the program. I think also I will say this. If cops are peacefully letting them in at the door, but you can clearly see people climbing the bushes and going through the windows, if you're a mildly intelligent citizen, you know that ain't right. You know something's going on. If the police are letting you in this door and you can clearly see people climbing the damn walls and stuff on the side of the building and the police are not doing nothing about it, you should be smart enough to know something is not right. You know this is not a tour. So some of it don't make sense because we've all seen videos of people being let in, but you've seen videos of people climbing the damn walls and busting windows in the same damn building. There's no way you could see that and think, yeah, this is a normal tour. This is how it normally goes at one of the nation's most respected buildings. Wow, the Senate and Congress is inside? You don't need much intelligence to know something is wrong with this. So in my humble opinion, if you went in there, you were down with the program, no different than going in a Best Buy when folks are walking out with TVs. You don't need to see that to know something's wrong. This ain't how you walk out with a damn television. It's out of the box. So the idea that folks didn't do something or didn't suspect something was wrong doesn't make sense to me. But looking in the comments, really I do, but I also see that at this pace, we are seriously headed for civil war or worse. It's inevitable, like Tails. Well, Gen Xer, that comment came from Gen Xer on YouTube. And by the way, tap the screen, 800 plus. Get me on up to 35,000. We can certainly make that happen on TikTok. YouTube, feel free to smash that like button. This is uncensored programming. Civil war. By the way, I seen the movie last weekend, but what would be the purpose of a civil war? What would be the purpose of it? I mean, what are you fighting? What are the sides? Is it MAGA against everyone? Republicans against Democrats? Blacks versus what? What would be the goal? What are you expecting to accomplish? In every war, there is an expectation On the other side, freedom, land acquisition, whatever. What are you fighting for? I mean, literally, what is the goal? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I'll continue on with the program. Get freedom and rights back. What rights have you lost? Is it a bunch of women bitching about abortion and healthcare? Who lost rights? What rights have you lost under President Biden? Or are you fighting for the fear of I might lose rights? A lot of folks said when Obama got elected, he was going to take away the Second Amendment. Are you fighting with the assumption that you're going to lose rights? Because I'm wondering, what rights have you currently lost after 4 years of Biden? Looking in the box, continuing on with the program, we'll go straight to roadless mindset. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Roadless Mindset. 2A right. So you're going to go, hang on a second, roadless. Ryan in the comments said fighting over Second Amendment rights. You're fighting preemptively? There's no proposal. Nick with the dinosaur. Nick, thank you. You're fighting over the idea that Biden might take your Second Amendment rights in the future. There's not even a bill proposed by Biden. Why would you go and engage in a civil war over something that you think may happen down the road? Roadless, good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. We're asking, well, first of all, do you believe we could be headed towards civil unrest?
Possibly.
For what reason?
I think that the real threat here is not immigration, but MAGA. Because when have immigrants really gone to the Capitol, smeared feces on the wall, hung up a different flag at the United States Capitol? And also, when has the immigrants threaten basically Joe Biden's life, put a kickboxing dummy, dresses him up like him, and keep punching him and stuff? It's kind of like the real threat, I think, is MAGA, because, hell, I don't see immigrants riding around in their trucks with pictures of Biden hogtied in the back.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like they're aiming, it seems like, for a civil war, but I'm not sure why, because all in all, in the Parkland shootings, Trump suggested just take the guns first, then we'll do the
due process. He said take the guns first, and then have due process.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're almost painting MAGA out somewhat. Let me make sure I get it correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but listening to your description, it's almost like you're painting MAGA out to be domestic terrorists.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
I think that we should put more money in homeland security than the border in all actuality, because domestic terrorism is more of a threat than the immigrants right now.
More money in homeland security for MAGA than to protect the borders. You really, something that's interesting. You mentioned going to the Capitol and putting up a different flag. I'm surprised I have not. Can you see these images with Trump and Jesus and things like that? I'm surprised you haven't seen, the Iwo Jima image where they're all getting together to put the American flag on Iwo Jima. There's also a September 11th flag where they're doing it at the memorial of September 11th, where the firemen and civil servants are all getting together to put up the American flag. I'm surprised you haven't seen an art-like image of MAGA all together banning to put up the Trump flag at the Capitol building. Because that's what it sounds like you're describing.
Like, I remember them putting up the MAGA flag, the Trump flag, when they went to the Capitol.
Yeah. What do you think?
Remember that.
What do you think the purpose? What do you think the purpose was? Because we're talking about a peaceful protest, but what do you think the purpose was, or the symbolization was, of going to the Capitol and putting up the Trump flag?
I believe that was like, okay, this is Trump's country, not the United States anymore.
Wow.
And that's the way I kind of see it, because it's just, to me, the United States flag should fly no matter what. It shouldn't be replaced by any other flag, especially at the Capitol.
Now, many would suggest that protesters at the Capitol on January 6th were patriots. To me, what you're saying sounds more unpatriotic. Do you see patriotism in a peaceful, well, not totally a peaceful protest, but they were protesting the belief that the election was stolen? Do you see them as patriots or something else?
I see them as domestic terrorists.
Wow.
So, in all honesty, it's kind of like, to me also, this is going kind of a little bit off the subject, but kneeling for the flag, when they were kneeling, I saw it kind of like a little bit more somewhat being submissive to America, because if you look at it in history, the kings go, okay, kneel to me.
Yeah.
Kneel to me to make sure that you're my servant. So basically, kneeling, like in Superman, kneel to Zod.
I remember that. I was about to say that, but I don't know when athletes are taking a knee, I don't think they're being submissive to the nation.
True, but I just saw it kind of like, I just kind of saw it like that, to where it's kind of like a little bit more like being, okay, I'm not going to put my heart over, but I'm going to kneel to be like more submissive in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, to me, I saw it as meaning this nation has not treated me right, so I damn sure am not going to stand up and put my heart over my hand over my heart in honor of the anthem if the nation is not treating me right. That's how I took it. But in the comments on YouTube, Svelter Gardner says, this caller, referring to you, says this caller seems like he's going to jail for hidden crimes if Trump is the POTUS again. He's fearful. I don't know. I mean, do you fear anything in this country if Trump becomes president again?
Well, in all honesty, I wonder, right now it's a popularity contest. If Trump gets in, he's either going to serve 4 more years or he's going to try to serve forever. What is his motivation to help the United States? What's his motivation to help MAGA? Because Trump is for Trump, not for the United States.
Well, there's a lot of folks who do believe Trump was for the working man and for the average Joe more than Biden, though. Why do you think they think that?
They didn't see what basically I saw in, like, I've been with you before, but like in West Texas, where he cut a lot of oil jobs and went for OPEC and brought in a lot of cheap foreign oil, which cut a lot of American jobs.
Wait. You're saying in West Texas, Trump is responsible for a lot of loss in the oil industry?
Yes.
That area is about as red as blood. You're talking Midland, Odessa, Amarillo. You're telling me that area lost jobs because of Trump?
Yes.
Wow. They're going to vote for him again.
Because, a lot of more Biden deals are going up here than Trump because of that fact. Because what happened was that he made that deal with OPEC and the Russians, which brought West Texas oil from $76 per barrel to $40 per barrel.
I gotta move it on, but I don't think that Biden has a chance in West Texas. I could be wrong. Now I don't know about the job industry you're mentioning, him switching to OPEC and costing all them their jobs, but I think that West Texas and the panhandle of Oklahoma above it, All of that. You could probably go from Amarillo clean on up to Canada. Everything you encounter will be red. But we'll see what happens. I do got to move it on, though, Rollis. Thank you for coming on.
It is. Oh, I was going to say real quick, it is red, but it's slowly switching to blue. And
that area is slowly switching to blue.
Yep.
Wow. I'd take any bet on that. I appreciate it, Rollis. That West Texas slowly switching to blue. I need to see that because at the end of the once the election is over, they'll give you the entire state county for county, and they show which one is red and which one is blue. Midland, Odessa, Amarillo, what's over there? El Paso. That is a big city, but West Texas, going blue. I see somebody, folks in the comments are saying, I can see that. Now, here's a comment before I go back to the box. Care Bear Stare, that's a mouthful. Care Bear Stare says, yes, Texas messed up with abortion laws. There could certainly be some validity to that, but I get a hell of a lot of female MAGA on the program. Shout out to all my female Republicans. I do get a lot of them that don't give a damn about the Roe v. Wade, rolling back of Roe v. Wade. So I'm really curious to see if it's all bark or if there's some bite behind the complaints coming from women. Will they actually show up, or are they just going to be pissed and still vote Republican? I'm curious to see what the woman vote turns out. Now, we've had some examples. Certainly over there near Huntsville, Alabama, one of the friends of the program, Andy, comes on often and brings up the fact that a congressperson down there in Alabama, blood red area, ran on abortion rights and won, a Democrat. So we've had a few examples here or there, but I'd be curious. Western Texas going blue. That's interesting. Looking in the comments, a lot of my friends and family are voting first time because of abortion, says Luigi. I believe that there's a hell of a lot of folks voting for the first time, and abortion possibly. But one thing I give Trump credit for over and over on many shows is that I believe he's brought more people to the political arena than anyone in our lifetime. There are more people voting because of Trump, whether you love him or hate him. Folks either love Trump or hate him, and both sides are passionate in that. It's not for Biden. Nobody's coming to show up for Biden. I don't think hardly anyone is voting for Biden. You're either voting for Trump or you're voting against Trump. That is the parties in this election. You're pro-Trump or anti-Trump. Biden is just getting those anti-Trump votes by default, but no one is voting for Biden. You're voting for Trump or you're voting against Trump. Looking in the box, that I give you, because everyone came out to kick him out, and he lost. Wait a minute. Everyone came. Yeah, you're saying that everyone came out to vote Trump out, and he lost. Yeah, you're either voting for Trump or you're voting against him. That is what 2024 is about. It's not about Biden. Going back to the box, we'll go to, I think that says House. It's different font, but good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Does that say how? What does that say there?
Hales.
Okay.
My real name's Haley, but my nickname's always been Hales or Tails. So.
Okay, I think we may have talked once before.
Twice, actually. Okay. 2 times.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Fair enough. So Trump is seeking immunity. Do you think he deserves immunity for January 6th and some of these accusations they're making against him?
Yes, I do, actually. I think there's been a lot of evidence supporting the claims that it was a peaceful protest. I've seen that there were security tapes from inside the White House released where they were literally just walking around. There wasn't yelling, trashing property. I didn't see anybody climbing over barricades other than the bus of...
Wait, you didn't see any... I mean, all you got to do is go on Google and type in climbing wall Capitol building. You didn't see nobody climbing anything?
No, I meant as in referring to the videos I watched in the Capitol of the security camera. Those just came out don't quote me on this, but I think it was like a month and a half, 2 months ago, possibly. Mm-hmm. However, if, damning evidence comes forward and he is guilty, then obviously, I believe people should be held accountable, but
so let me ask it to you this way. If Trump is convicted in court, if they actually deem a guilty verdict, hand down a guilty verdict to Trump, would that affect your vote?
No.
Okay. So you still vote for him if he was guilty of actually an insurrection?
Yes.
Okay.
I would. Just because I believe that they've been coming for him for a really long time now. They've tried throwing everything at him. And I think that should be illegal. Honestly, they've put that man through hell. And honestly, I think he did good for the term he was president. I think he did a lot of good for our country. This is the first time in history that a president has been put through this situation. So
why do you think that is? Why do you think because folks say he never got a chance from day one. Why do you think that happened? Because they didn't say that about George W. Bush. Why do you think Trump never got a chance? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying, in your opinion. Why didn't they give him a chance from day one?
I think because the other side made it seem as if he was the devil. Obviously, when you have two opponents running, they're going to bring up dirt from their past.
Right.
I think they brought up the most dirtiest, and then I think that they put their own twist on it and pushed this agenda. Well, and then once he did get elected, I don't think they seen that coming. I don't think they saw him winning. But he did, and then I honestly believe that, he's not a true politician. He can't be swayed with money, or, he can't be bought out like all these other politicians, like Biden, for instance. So they have no power over him.
So you believe that Biden can be bought out?
Yes, I do.
Now, I'm hearing that he has dementia and doesn't even know where he's at. Is it normal for people with advanced dementia to be focusing on money?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure on that. Probably not. But even during his vice president's term, and then the 30 plus years in Senate, he should be held accountable for all that stuff that's came to light. If he's not mentally fit to stand trial for all that, he sure as hell should not be mentally fit to lead our military and stand up for we the people. Now,
it's interesting, when you point to Biden not being mentally fit, I want to ask you, any idea why the overwhelming majority of folks who served in Trump's administration think he should not be president? When you look at Biden's administration, they all seem to think he's okay. Trump's administration does not support him. Why is that?
I honestly think it's because the situation we're in right now. I think will you repeat that? I think I heard you right. I'm sorry.
Okay, let me explain it. You mentioned Biden not being fit to serve our military. He's old. You're suggesting that he's mentally out of it. But when you look at his cabinet, the folks that are serving under him in the White House, they all support Biden for another term. But when you look at Trump, the folks that served under him, from the likes of Mike Pence, Scaramucci, Ambassador Bolton, Sean Spicer, and all, they don't believe he deserves a second term. Why is that?
I can't say 100% for certain, but I think, and this is just my opinion, that they probably have been, bought out. Each Republican obviously has beliefs that lean more Democrat or lean more Republican, and they want their time to shine. So who knows? So
you believe Mike Pence has possibly been bought out?
No, not per se. I was just saying,
So why do you think Mike Pence, Trump's VP, and I think this is the first time in history that a VP did not support his own president for a second term? Any idea why that is?
No, I have nothing that I can say for certain, no.
Does that mean anything to you that the folks who have had the closest contact with Trump believe he is not fit to be president again? folks who are in his inner circle, whereas the folks that are in Biden's inner circle are not saying he has dementia and he's not unfit. Most of the people saying that Biden is unfit or that he has dementia has no access to him. The folks saying that Trump shouldn't be president had direct access to him. Why do you think that is? Hells, are you still with me? Okay, apparently my caller had a call. We'll move it on. Hells, you're always welcome back on the program. Understand some people get calls. Look, I believe she was at work, so it happens. Happens to all of us. Nevertheless, folks, tap the screen. Get your guy on up to 55,000. We're near 1,000. It helps out the algorithm. Probably will bring us around over 1,000 folks in here, but certainly tap the screen. Get me on up to 55,000 likes. I see in the comments, Dark Scorpio, she's a runner. She's a track star. I love the song. That is funny. 55,000 likes. I'm about to play that once I get off of this show. By the way, on YouTube, feel free to smash that like button. My participation is not as anywhere near. It's hard to get you folks on YouTube to smash that like button. I understand my audience on YouTube is a little bit further than little bit further to the right than my audience on TikTok. I love everybody. Listen, at the end of the day, it's never about agreeing or disagreeing. I believe in free speech. We always have an uncensored program. Been that way from day one. So if you do like civilized dialogue, you appreciate civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, you are in the right place. Follow the program if you're on TikTok. Subscription on YouTube, if you will. 1 p.m. Central, 1,300 hours, Monday through Friday. We're here Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. I'm here in YouTube likes hidden. Little bits animals. I don't quite get that. Maybe if, you're saying the likes are hidden? Is that really? I got to figure out what the hell I have said for that. But smash that like button. I don't know why the likes are hidden. I can't smash the like button until you switch to Trump. All right, Swelter Gamer rather. Is it simply the love for Trump, or what about the love that we should not be censored as a people? Damn it, is that not worth the like? Do I have to like and have the same mindset as you? What about just simply observing the Constitution and believing in support of free speech? Is that not worth the like in itself? I have to support your guy. That doesn't sound like free speech to me. Sounds more like you're dictating where I need to be. I thought we were about freedom here, folks. Come on now, Garner, but appreciate your input either way. How can you say the border is not overrun when we have so many illegal crossings and illegal aliens in our country, something that was a non-issue under Trump? Marcus Stanley, that is partially correct. I do believe the number of folks crossing in the country under Trump was lower than it is under Biden, because the mindset is that Democrats are softer on the border than the Republicans are. But the illegal immigrants comment, first of all, is not correct. If Biden changed the way you could request asylum, so anyone who is in this country seeking asylum, which they're highly unlikely to be granted, but they're not here illegally. All of those asylum seekers are here legally. So I do believe the term illegal alien has been greatly inflated. Most of these folks are not folks who dashed across the desert and ran for it. That is an illegal immigrant. But if you actually walked up to a law enforcement official at the border and said, I'd like to request, seek asylum, even if it's on a bullshit claim, you're not here illegally. So most of these folks, none of the folks that Greg Abbott or Ron DeSantis put on buses are illegal immigrants. They're 100% legal. They are 100% legal until their case comes up. And real quick before we go back to the box, the claim that it was a non-issue under Trump is not true. It was a lesser issue. There were plenty folks complaining about caravans under President Trump. They were certainly still coming, which is why Trump was constantly combating it. So the idea that it was not an issue under Trump is patently false. You just favor the way he was handling it. A lot of folks favor the way he was handling it, but it did exist. How's them in the White House? Different strokes. Says put all the immigrants in the White House. Going back to the box, thank you for tapping the screen. We should be around 70,000 if you let your thumbs not be lazy. Jeremy 55-6. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. We're asking that question. Trump is seeking immunity. What say you?
So far, I haven't really seen enough evidence to really say that he shouldn't get immunity.
So you believe he should so far?
So far, yes. But okay. I'm always willing to have my mind changed.
Are you concerned by chance that if you grant him immunity, others could come through that same opening?
That is a concern, but I don't know 100%. I don't know 100%. That's the problem. Is that this is not 100% black or white for me.
Okay.
But so far, I'm leaning more towards immunity.
Let me ask it to you this way: because Trump is saying he didn't commit any crimes, are you on the same train in terms of thought process that he didn't really commit any crimes?
So far from the evidence that I've seen, no, I do not see him having committed any crimes. That's the problem.
Fair enough. So if he didn't commit any crimes, why not just prove that in court? Why do you need to use immunity? This is the same argument that is being told to the liberals. If you think he's a bad president, it should show up come election day. Why do you need to use the courts to go after the guy? Just vote him out of office. The same would apply here. If the guy didn't do anything wrong, if he didn't commit any crimes, you don't need to use immunity. Just prove your case in court.
Normally I would be for discovery. The only issue I have is that if you don't give someone immunity, the problem is there could be malicious use of the court system where someone just has to keep coming to court over and over again. And considering he's running for president, that could cost him millions of dollars, if not billions. And, this happens with lawsuits all the time. Now, he is wealthy, but he's not as wealthy as he used to be, from what I can tell. I think that he's from his companies don't make as much money as they used to. Or
when you say he is wealthy, does he really need to use it? I think MAGA, for the most part, will give him whatever he needs. What say you?
Well, there was always that question I've been hearing a lot of people saying, like, should he even be allowed to take some of that money?
Well, I would say this. Not only is it a question about should he be allowed to take some of the money, the second question, which could lead to future indictments against the former president, is how can you get $75 million and not have to declare it as income? I mean, if I went to court and I had a court case coming up and I couldn't afford my lawyer and you wired me the money to pay for a lawyer, the IRS believes I should pay taxes on that. That's free money.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it becomes kind of like a catch-22 is, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's the issue is that, I think that maybe he shouldn't even be tried because so far the evidence I've seen against him is kind of shaky. But again, if this was not something that would be malicious in the first place, I'd say, okay, just take the charges and show that you're innocent in courts. But again, that's the problem is, like for instance, there was actually something interesting that happened with a completely different group of people for a different reason that kind of proves what I'm talking about.
Okay.
There was a militia group. I think they're called the Vipers or something like that. They were in like Arizona, and they were like brought to courts because they were militia, but they were supposedly going to detonate boom booms. I don't know if we can say the other word on TikTok.
I get it. Keep going.
Yeah, and like all throughout Arizona and Phoenix. But then in courts, it like a lot of claims that were made turned out to be false, one after another, and it robbed a lot of them of their money and their ability to even live normal lives.
But let me interrupt you and say this. People get charged with crimes and we don't give a damn that it costs them money all the time. I mean, let's just be real. We all tend to believe O.J. Simpson was guilty, fair enough. But he was found innocent. How much money did he lose? We don't care that a person found not guilty loses money. That happens every day to people.
Right. Well, the thing is, I do care to a degree because I think that courts shouldn't rob someone innocent of all of their funds to the point where they can't live their life if we're the only, because then that takes away the justice. Like courts should be about justice and harmony.
I never heard Trump talk about this when he was president, suggesting that if a person is found not guilty, the money they lost hiring lawyers should be given back. Not once did this seem to be a problem until it happened to him.
Right. Well, you see, I think that's something we got to kind of admit that is a part of the human condition, though. A lot of times we don't care about things in general until they happen to us. But that doesn't mean that we think that they're right. We just might be indifferent. Like, for instance, we kind of might know that, like, homelessness is not something that people who are willing to work in order to make in order to earn their keep should have to go through. But a lot of people, they have their own issues. They have things that they have to work on in their own personal lives. So a lot of people might not, go out of their way to like help the homeless because they might have other things they have to worry about. So I don't know if Trump necessarily thought that it was okay. I just don't think he necessarily talked about it.
I don't know, because even with him believing the criminal courts are after him, when minorities, African Americans, Black Lives Matter, and all these groups were saying the same thing was happening to other people, he didn't give a damn about it. I'm the law-abiding guy, Blue Lives Matter. He sided with the police. Now all of a sudden he believed the system is after him. He's saying that those same people that I did not have the time of day for should identify with me now because I'm going through the same thing they went through.
Yeah, it does seem a little hypocritical. I will say this: a lot of the cases that Black Lives Matter were glorifying, so a lot of them turned out to not be quite what they said they were, or what they thought they were. Like Michael Brown was a good example of that.
In Ferguson, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think George Floyd was a justified death, but I think that if you look at what happened with Derek Chauvin, it's pretty obvious that his training was the biggest issue, and the department, I think, should have been held responsible.
Well, if the training that led Derek Chauvin to sit on somebody for 9 minutes is an issue, if he's trained to do that, then what Black Lives Matter is saying is absolutely correct, that the police are bad. I mean, they're being trained, according to you, to sit on people for 9 minutes continuously.
Sorry, that's a call from inside my house. I'm just going to ignore that. But I somewhat agree. I don't think that we can say that all police departments are equal. I think that the problem was that with Black Lives Matter, we saw that there was kind of this blind hatred for the police where there was no nuance and there was no like, hey, well, maybe some departments are better than others. Maybe some have a better record than others. And on a side note, I would say that this is why I think
We'll give him a second. Maybe he had a phone call. We'll give him a second. That's not what they are saying, though, Tim. They were saying it was all racial. Yeah, I don't doubt that anytime a white officer hurts a black person, race comes up. No, it's not always racial. But I don't like the idea that the first inclination anytime somebody claims police brutality is to say, well, I need to see the whole story. Or like in George Floyd's case, it's COVID, it was fentanyl. I mean, just come up with all types of excuses. So it don't always have to be racial truth. But I don't like the way we automatically give the police the benefit of the doubt when some things are really overwhelming. 9 minutes. To the point where the paramedics got to ask him, sir, could you get up? I don't see how anybody would counter what happened at all.
Right. And the issue was, I think that a lot of us are sick of people like jumping to conclusions before information comes out. And I do think that because there was a lot of that happening with Black Lives Matter, I think too many people immediately were like, let's go to the other side and back the blue. Yeah. And
I would just say this, though. There was some corruption found in Black Lives Matter, but fact is, there has not been a person in U.S. history speaking on behalf of civil rights that was not found to be dirty. I mean, they were pointing to Martin Luther King sleeping with prostitutes. Before you had Black Lives Matter, you had Hands Up, Don't Shoot. You had I Can't Breathe. They were demonizing all of those movements. So if it's not the fault of Black Lives Matter or the corruption in Black Lives Matter, it doesn't matter who the person. I mean, even LeBron James just shut up and dribble. He has no type of corruption in him at all. They didn't even want to hear it coming from him. So we can talk about Black Lives Matter. I get your point, but there's nobody that could do it. Anybody that speaks out on behalf of civil rights against police, they're going to find a way to demonize you. Everybody that has done it has been demonized.
Yeah, if you have enough people that don't like you, they're going to look for every little flaw in your character. And it doesn't even mean you have to be a particularly bad person. They'll find whatever, because you and I are not perfect. Now, you and I have never probably done anything horrible, but that doesn't mean like they'll find something like you sped at like 75 miles per hour in like a 45 or something like that. Yeah,
they brought up by the time they were done with the George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin thing, they were talking about Trayvon Martin smoked weed and actually had skipped school. They went back. There was not much to find on Trayvon Martin.
He was a punk kid like all of us. He was a punk kid like all of us were, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What a horrible, horrible thing for him to be a dumb kid being a stupid kid, right? You know? Like, as we all were. Yeah. As if any of the people saying that.
I do get it. I don't want to get too deep. Yeah, I don't want to get too deep in this topic, but that was the whole point, is that there's no way to protest against police misconduct without somebody demonizing you. Even if there is nothing there, like with LeBron James, they're going to find some reason, because there are folks who want the police to continue doing that. They actually want it to happen. But Jeremy, I do got to move it on, man. Appreciate
okay, man. It's good to talk to you, Tim.
Anytime. I don't want to get too deep in that topic, but there are people that want that to happen. There are people who favor seeing that happen. That's why they demonize the movement. Looking in the comments, Svelter Gardner says, then don't skip school. Don't skip school, or some white dude may chase you down and shoot your ass if you skip school. Well, Marcus Stanley says, I mean, people are upset that Trump had her sign an NDA. Those kinds of forms are legal and regularly occurring. She had to sign the agreement. Why? Why would Stormy Daniels just sign an agreement and get offered $150,000 for no reason at all? Is there any in the comments, by way of yes or no? Type in yes or no. How many of you folks believe Trump did not sleep with Stormy Daniels? If you believe he did not sleep with Stormy Daniels, type yeah. How many folks believe what Trump is saying is true, that he did not sleep with that woman, as Bill Clinton would have said something similar? Because the idea that she has an NDA and she wrote up a letter saying, does that make sense? Can you not defend President Trump? Believe he has the best vision for this country? Lack of global conflicts, whether you think the fuel prices were better under. Can you defend Trump and still remain logical? Why would a woman have an NDA and write you a letter saying she didn't sleep with you if y'all had no why would that even happen? You can defend Trump and be logical simultaneously. Or better yet, like El Comandante says, well, who cares? Okay, if you don't care, you don't care. Fair enough, but you still can believe it's true or false. You still, maybe you don't care if the earth is flat or round, but you still have an opinion on it. You have an opinion on whether or not that's true. I will say this in regards to asking, well, who cares? If he's on TV lying, you should care. I mean, fact is, even though it may have been, him cheating on his wife and nobody is morally perfect, he's lying to your face. I mean, that's something you should be concerned about, because if he's willing to lie about that, or lie to his own family, what else is he capable? You think he's going to put you above his family? Say the same about Bill Clinton. Now, I don't know if Bill Clinton didn't tell the truth to his wife at all either. I don't know. But if a person is willing to lie to their own family, why would you think they're always going to be honest to you? I think that, to me, that it should matter. It should matter from that standpoint, that if you're going to lie to the folks who you are most intimately involved with, that you should care about the most, then you certainly are capable of lying to other people. Now, if you don't mind the person lying to other people, then that's a different story. Looking in the comments, Cox thing says he's a Christian. Okay. A lot of Christians do some shit like that. Yes, she may have had something on Trump. You believe Stormy Daniels may have had something on Trump? Yeah, a couple of semen stains maybe. I don't know. Many high-profile people pay off nuisance cases because, whether true or not, it's an agreement to stop talking about it, and in exchange for that, they go away. She gets cash payment. That is true. That is true. But when she's describing the inside of his home and things like that, I don't know. To me, like I said, when she's describing inside of his home, she's describing his genitals. And remember, Trump sued her for violating the NDA. Why not sue her for improperly describing your genitals and making up shit? He didn't sue her for that stuff. Probably because he didn't want to, wouldn't have risked what would have come out in court. I don't know. The idea that she's just making that up. Here's the way I see it. And I see most of you folks in the comments certainly don't believe Trump saying he didn't sleep with her. Before I go back to the box and tap the screen, get me on up to 85,000. We're getting close. Nearly 1,000 of you still here. You could be anywhere. Appreciate you rolling with me for this live stream. We're talking about Trump in immunity. That's what he's seeking, and whether he did anything wrong or not. So before we do that, I believe in regards to Stormy Daniels and Trump, my humble opinion, they absolutely slept together. And Stormy Daniels, 150 G's coming from Michael Cohen. And by the way, some of you folks do know, actually saw it happen live. I interviewed Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer, and asked him how the hell did he pay her. And he told me he used a revolving line of equity on his home to pay Stormy Daniels. I mean, I actually asked him my damn self on camera in front of some of you folks. And now, I know we suggested Michael Cohen does not have credibility because he served time for perjury, but he told me personally he paid her off with the money. What I believe is she after sleeping with the dude, because she wanted to be on The Apprentice, which is the purpose she did it in the first place, saw a chance to make some money with the $150,000 NDA. And at the time, she probably thought that was the most she could make. But once he rose to the rank of presidential contender, even though she signed an NDA, she got greedy and realized she could make even more by violating the NDA. Wouldn't surprise me if her lawyer, Michael Avenatti, also convinced her to do it as well. So she decided to try to make even more money with the NDA. That's what I believe happened, is that she did sleep with him. She took the money, was going to keep quiet about it until an opportunity started coming out that she could make even more money. And she told her story. That's what the idea that he didn't sleep with this woman and just walking around with a letter saying, I mean, that doesn't happen. I've never heard of anybody present. I mean, can you imagine if your spouse, your girlfriend or boyfriend was doing something that looked suspicious and you questioned them on it, and they suddenly pulled out a letter from the person you were concerned about saying, I didn't sleep with him or her? Would that make sense to you? You're questioning your husband or your wife. Who is that person you be hanging around with all the damn time? In the terms of the eurythmics, who's that girl? And they hand you a letter from that person saying, well, I didn't sleep. Who the hell does that? Where does that come from? Going back to the box, that just makes no sense to me. Country Hound Dog can probably tell me why it does. Good afternoon, Country Hound Dog. Why does this matter if she slept with Trump if it's not a crime? Because the integrity of the man. If you want to believe he's honest, let me ask Country Hound Dog. Now, you're MAGA, correct?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
But
I gave you that point last time. Remember that. Right before I had to go.
No.
I conceded a point to you, a big one.
Okay, so you do believe he slept with her?
Yeah, he did. And like you, I think she got greedy, and she's just going after more money.
Right.
But at that point, doesn't that make her pay for play?
Yeah.
And no different than any other streetwalker out there?
She's a porn star. That's by career choice.
At that point, doesn't that make her pay for play?
Yeah, that don't make her a liar, though. A porn star has sex.
I didn't say that.
A porn star has sex for money. By her very nature, she is paid for play. Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
So, I mean, that could open up a whole new can of worms right there.
What?
On both sides.
Well, there's no allegation that she made any more money. I mean, unless you're saying that she's in court, all she's going to court to say is that the man slept with her and this is where the money came from.
Right. Yeah, but when it comes down to it, and you've said it and I've said it, none of us believe that they would be going after Trump this hard if he wasn't in the political arena.
Yeah.
And as for Biden, and all of his guys backing him so well, and you're right about that, they do back him, versus Trump and his cabinet turning on him, I think what it comes down to is this: political favors. Okay?
Mike
How many
Pence?
times are you political favors? You know, hey, I promise you this to vote on your bill if you'll do this for me. And we know that goes on.
Wait. You
And that's-
believe Mike Pence, who could have been VP for 4 more years, received a political favor that was big enough that he would turn on Trump?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
the hell
I
could they
believe
have
that.
gave him?
I mean, that would be a big political favor to gain. They may have said, look, we'll work with you on this, this, and this if you turn on Trump. And we know political favors go around all the time. That's just my opinion of why so many did turn on Trump.
But that's like, for instance, in the comments, Mr. Walter White points out his whole career is over with. He could have been VP for 4 more years and possibly ran for president in 2028. What kind of political favor would make you turn all of that down and go against Trump?
That is a question we would have to ask Mike Pence directly.
Is it possible he turned against Trump because he just don't think he's the right guy to lead the nation?
No.
Not possible at all.
And here's why. And like a lot of people, and I think, and pretty much, and I've even heard Biden supporters say the same thing. Trump was not a politician. He was not about the political institution that is there currently. He did not like it. He made that very plain and clear. And I've heard that from Biden supporters as well.
Okay.
And that put a huge target on Trump's back.
Well, let me give you my spiel on it. I don't totally disagree with what you're saying as he was against the institution. But keep in mind, when Trump came to power, we were the world's most powerful nation, to some degree the world's richest nation, using that institution. Trump is coming along and trying to upset what has kept us on top for at least 100 years. And he's going to come along and say, the system that you're currently using to be the world's greatest, I'm going to change that and replace it with something. I think that might create some resistance.
Well, I mean, I think what Trump was trying to do was take the power back away from the political system and give it back to the little man, back to the people who actually vote, people like me and you. And the political system, that an institution that is in place right now, did not like that, because the more they keep me and you arguing and fighting with each other, the less we pay attention to them. A divided people is easier to control.
But how could you not predict that if because folks say they never gave Trump a chance from day one. The example I often use, Country Hound Dog, is that it would be like you asking the local police lieutenant. I think you got a bunch of corrupt cops in your force. Make me a sergeant, and I'll come on the force and name names and help you drain the swamp on your force. And they actually hire you in as a sergeant. You think those cops are going to give you a chance from day one, knowing that your whole job is to come in there and upset the whole damn force and get everybody fired?
Well, I mean, and you're right. That's why and I agree with you. And that's exactly why they didn't give him that chance. They didn't want to let him become president. You said it. You don't think the Democrats saw him getting in when he ran against Trump.
Everybody I'm naming is Republican too. It ain't just the Democrats. There's a substantial amount of Republicans.
I tell you what, I'd be willing to bet if we sat and went through all the records on both sides that we could not find, I'd be willing to bet we couldn't find 3 total senators or congressmen that would actually owe a favor back or forth. I bet we couldn't find 3 that don't do that. The political swamp, they're all so intertwined with each other, it ain't funny.
Do you think Trump is part of the swamp?
I don't think he is, and that's why they all hated him. Even Republicans hated him. And they said he's here to upset the status quo.
Here's what I don't get. is you can hang around the Clintons. These are people you guys don't like. The Clintons, you can hang around Epstein, all these folks, but yet you walk away squeaky clean. Trump's history is hanging around some pretty shady folks by MAGA standards. Hung around all these folks, and yet somehow he did it and he's squeaky clean.
Well, when it comes to the Clintons, I will say this: I think Bill Clinton did a good job as president. Okay, I wasn't old enough to vote for him at the time, but I think he did a good job. Now, as for Hillary, yeah, well, I call her Hillary.
And she did all of that without her husband participating.
And Hillary was caught using bleach pit, still didn't suffer any consequences. And that was proven. Don't matter what she did or didn't erase, she was caught and suffered no consequences. But the Clintons, they have faded out of sight. They're no longer the most powerful family out there anymore.
True.
So, and Trump did hang around a lot of shady characters.
Right.
He hung around with a lot of prominent people as well.
Well,
he hung around with Oprah. And even Oprah has turned her back on him.
Well, you gotta understand Country Hound Dog. Trump has said awful things about most of the people he used to hang around. I mean, he didn't speak favorably of Oprah either. I mean, Trump has attacked a lot of people, not to mention when Trump was hanging around the likes of Oprah and Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and all of those folks, his political mindset was completely the opposite of what it is now. Because people always ask, why was all of these folks favoring Trump, and then the minute he runs for office, I think you got a call?
Hold on a second.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. I got to move it on, Hound Dog. Your ringer is too loud. But the whole purpose I was going to ask is Trump and Thurman Helms with the subscription. Thank you, appreciate it. See you in the comments or better yet in the box. I'll certainly bring you up. Thank you, Thurman Helms. Trump's ideology is exactly 180 degrees of what it used to be when he was hanging around Sharpton, Jackson, Clinton, Oprah. So this answers the question often asked. Why is it that so many people favor Trump and then all of a sudden he run for president and they suddenly hate him? He's not the guy that he was when they favored him. He don't believe in the same things. He was talking about assault rifle bans, limited magazine capacity. He was talking about all of this stuff back in the 80s and 90s. Now he's more of a shall not be infringed. He's okay with, giving Roe v. Wade powers back to the state. He wasn't talking like that then. He was pro-choice. He's a different guy. Now, you may favor the new guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have a right to favor Trump. Many folks think he's a better president. But he is a different guy than he was in the 80s and 90s. That is why people treat him differently. He's not the same dude. By the way, keep in mind, think about Trump hanging around Al Sharpton, Hillary Clinton. Think about him hanging around Oprah and all of those folks. Now, think about who he's hanging around with now. Do you think they like Al Sharpton, Hillary Clinton, Oprah? They don't even like the people he hang around. Don't even like who he used to hang around. So clearly he's a different dude now. That is why the mindset. Steve Bannon, I see in the comments, he's a different dude. He has a right to change. He has a right to grow and mature and become somebody else. But damn it, so do all of the people that are judging him. They see him as different. They changed too. Different dude. I saw them hanging out in Vegas, says Cleo. Saw who? Is you, and my English teacher's not going to like this different strokes, but I'll read your comment. Is you the same dude like in the 80s? Well, I was a kid in the 1980s. So, I still listen to a little bit of Cyndi Lauper and the Eurythmics and all of them. Yeah, maybe a little bit, but that was a long time ago. I am a little bit different. And I wouldn't have an issue if people who favor me in the 80s don't like me now. It happens. See somebody, Matthew Scott says just taller. Yeah, I wasn't 6'6" in the 80s. All right, going back to the box, we'll go straight to Mike Loud. Mike Loud. I'm thinking about Mike Lowry maybe from the Bad Boys. Mike Loud, good afternoon.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Talking about Trump and immunity. What say you?
Hey, Tim, I just want to let you know I'm a long-time listener, long-time commenter, first-time caller, man. Love the show.
Excellent. Good to have you on. It's an honor having you in here. So what do you think about number 45 seeking immunity from the nation's highest court?
Well, this is what's so crazy about it to me. Why is no other president before him ever needed immunity, talked about it?
Yeah, thank you, Nan.
Wanted it, nothing. It was never an issue until now. I had to move to a different area for the background noise.
Okay, let me put on my Trump hat, play devil's advocate on the other side of your question. Why has no other president sought immunity before President Trump? In defense of Trump, the argument's going to be none of them ever had a weaponized justice system trying to take them down.
That weaponized justice system, that's a MAGA talking point, man. I just don't believe that. I can't believe that it's weaponized against this one person out of all of America that they want.
Well, it's not just completely MAGA talk. I would agree with you to about 80% of that. There's a lot of folks that believe this current Alvin Bragg paying off Stormy Daniels case is being inflated to create a felony out of nowhere. There's a lot of the Chris Cuomo's, folks that don't even like Trump, are saying that this case, I think Geraldo Rivera is another one that's on television saying that is not a fan of Trump being president again. Even they're saying that this case is being blown out of proportion just to get Trump.
Now, the Alvin Bragg one might be the weakest out of the four. All right. Okay.
So you're coming around. You're coming around. I'm going to get a MAGA hat for you. Keep going.
No. I'll concede that. But
okay.
That was the more financial one, financial crimes. Financial crimes are crimes. They try to say that they're victimless crimes. They're crimes.
But 335 million to Letitia James and nobody's crying foul. You don't think that's a bit overstated? You don't think that's kind of exaggerated, excessive?
Hey, the victim in the crime is New York State.
335 million. And not only did she get 335 million, she's demanding this money within a 30-day span, eager to take the man's property. You don't see any issue with that.
But you got $6-7 billion. Remember, what is 300 million?
Greed.
Pay it and keep pushing. Pay it and keep pushing.
Okay,
pay it and keep pushing.
83.5 million to E. Jean Carroll.
That was Tim. That was his fault. Now the little $5 million at the beginning, that's nothing to drop in a bucket to a billionaire. Pay it and keep pushing. You keep talking. You keep going. You keep opening the doors. You don't want to close the doors. You keep opening it. They say, okay, well, here's some more money. Person like that, you can only hit him in the pocket to make him feel something. He can't feel it unless it's in the pocket.
Giving him something.
He's not going to stop.
All right, giving him something he can feel. Shout out to Invoke. But going from 5 million to 10 million would have been giving him something he can feel. 83.3 million for this woman that is an elderly woman. How did he defame her so great that it's worth 83 million? You don't see no excessiveness in that at all.
I can concede a little bit excessive, but okay. I can also say that it's a deterrent. It's called a deterrent. Things ramp up when you keep doing stuff. It's a deterrent.
Putting me in jail overnight for shoplifting is a deterrent. Chopping off my whole damn hand might be excessive. 83.3 million to this woman, that's excessive, man. Come on.
To us in America, it's excessive. To the people in Thailand, it's a deterrent.
Right. All right, so what about this Alvin Bragg case? Now, in the comments, I see somebody said it's going to be a hung jury. You think they will convict him in this case that most folks, even yourself, is saying may be a weak case? This paying off hush money to a porn star?
Man, I really don't know how this jury would go with it. I think that prosecutors with such a high, type of person they would have all their I's dotted and T's crossed going into this. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they would just go in willy-nilly. Now, the jury, he just got so much evidence against him and all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much against him. It's hard for me to say that but you never know what juries will do. It's always could be one person to be there and there be like, nope,
I had someone tell me something that has always stuck with me, and that is Trump would never be convicted because there will always be at least one MAGA on every jury. That statement given to me a few months ago has always stuck with me. Let me ask it to you this way, though. Is it the actual crime, or is it just President Trump himself? Marcus Stanley on YouTube, we broadcast on both simultaneously. Marcus says, I think if people just took the face and name off of the issues and looked at what was done for the country, they would see that Trump was better than Biden. If you just simply looked at these two people but let me frame it up. I'll lob it to you. You can hit it as hard as you want. But let me ask it to you this way. Instead of saying Trump versus Biden, let's say it's person A and person B, and you look at what they've done for the country, and Trump is person A. He's saying that A should outweigh B on every metric.
Then that just says that you're above the law. And I thought the number one rule is no one is above the law. The law of the land is the law of the land. No matter how much good you did, you could save 100 babies from drowning. But then if you go stab one person, you're going to jail. Well, he just saved 100 babies the other day. It doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? The law is the law. And this immunity thing, let me hit it to you this way. This is what's so really super hypocritical and crazy to me about this immunity thing. The moment the Supreme Court, if they was to make a ruling and say, yeah, a president is immune, what the hell is stopping Joe Biden from going to SEAL Team 6, saying, take this dude out, go take the Supreme Court judges out, go do this, go Green New Deal, go shut down the oil companies, we're going solar everywhere. Like, what stops him from doing whatever he wants to do at that moment?
Yeah, I do.
Just to keep Trump out of jail, for being accountable for what he did. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't get it. I don't even get the argument. But I do get that he's throwing everything possible at the wall to try to stay out of jail, which shoot, everybody would.
I could not agree with you more that in effort to save Trump, we could open up a huge Pandora's box. Because obviously, if Trump is immune from what took place, that means any president in the future could do January 6th all over again.
Going for it, and that means Joe Biden right now, at that moment, would be susceptible to the law, to the Supreme Court's ruling.
Yeah. My guess is,
what's the point?
Yeah, my guess is, like I've said before in the program, is that after Trump is out of the picture, you're going to get some anti-Trump laws from a bipartisan standpoint, both sides, because he's pushed the envelope in ways that folks probably never thought would happen. And they're going to probably pass some laws to prevent it from ever happening again.
I would think so, and they probably need to, but he was a bombastic figure that came along. To me, it was the whitewashing, white lash from Obama. You know what I'm saying? That we got the so-called greatest black man in, they had to get the greatest white man in. You understand what I'm saying? So,
are you saying that Trump was a good president to white people? That's what I'm hearing.
He yes.
All right.
He was a great figure, someone for them to look at. They see businessman, he's white, he's a businessman, got billions of dollars, somebody to really look up for. They didn't look up to Romney like that, but they looked up to Trump like that because, he talking shit, he speak his mind, New Yorker, businessman. He seemed like an average person like us, but the average person don't shit on gold toilets. So that to me is just an illusion. He the type of person that panders. What I've seen from him, I'm almost 50, I'm 48. And what I've seen from him over the years, he opportunist. He pandered to whatever's cool. You talking about hanging with the Jesse and them? Because they celebrities. We all celebrities, it's cool. Let me go over and hang with him. Oh, these people like me? Well, let me go over here and holler at them. Well, these people like me? Well, let me holler at them. To me, he's a pander. He pander to whoever think he cool. Wow. Whoever think he cool, he gonna pander to him. And that's what he do.
You're not the first to say that. I do got to move it on Mike Loud, though, but power to the white man. I like that. Shout out.
Right on, Tim, man. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for bringing me on.
Anytime. Good talking. Looking in the comment, nothing wrong with supporting the white man. White man got to eat too, right? All right, power to the white man. By the way, tap the screen. 110,000, if you will, over 100,000. Wow. So you guys have been supportive today. My YouTubers, feel free to smash that like button as well. Understand this is an uncensored broadcast. It is every day that way. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Program is always will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are always my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Looking in the comments, I do have one question for you. Country Hound Dog, go ahead and state that. Going back to the box, we will move it on with my subscriber, Furback. Definitely always want to show some love to the few I have. Furback, good afternoon. Is it hot in the car? Not yet, but that probably will happen soon. Furback, good afternoon. Talking about immunity for the former commander-in-chief, what say you?
He doesn't need total immunity. I mean, we already got immunity for things they do in the best interest of the country. For, wars or whatever they have to do in the name of keeping us protected.
Well, let me present it to you. Let me frame it for you, and I'll let you take it any direction you want. You said he doesn't need immunity. We already have immunity when the president does what is in best interest of the country. Now, you went down the lines of wars and things like that, but what about, you got a loud background there.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah. I just stepped outside.
Okay, yeah, sound like you're counting pennies or working on a chain gang. All right, so, okay, let me go ahead and frame it for you. Many would suggest that Trump felt democracy was being stolen from upon him with Biden still in the election. Okay, your background's real loud, man.
I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to get in the car here.
Okay.
Oh, that's better.
All right. Okay. But the idea is that on January 6th, Trump was fighting on behalf of the country, fighting for democracy, and therefore should be granted immunity because what he was doing was in the best interest of his nation.
I don't understand how that makes sense when he has 60 courts say that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Well, but the man is entitled to his own belief, ain't he?
Yeah, everybody got an asshole. You're entitled to your opinion. That's for sure.
Okay.
I didn't say he couldn't have an opinion. I just said the shit. He just lived peacefully like every other president has.
Yeah. So do you believe any crimes were committed by the president on January 6th?
I do. I definitely do.
What crime do you believe he committed?
Well, the caller, I caught you live late. What was that, the other night or whatever? And I said the other guy came up the other day. He said the same thing I said. That, if you got a patron at a bar and he goes around the corner and, smack somebody with the car, you still liable if you gave him that last drink.
Yeah. So
that's kind of how I look at that situation. Also, I always argue the rally and all of that's all good. Stop the steal, I got an issue with that. Even that's all good. But what is your intent to have it the same day they're trying to do their process? You could have had it January 5th. You could have had it January 5th.
So what do you think?
There's only one reason. There's only one reason to have it January 6th.
Which is?
You wanted some shit to go down. You definitely wanted some shit to go down.
So you believe Trump wanted them to act a fool there that day?
I think Juan is trying to get in his head. But I don't think he would have mind. That's why he had it that day.
Yeah.
Like I said, if he wanted the potential of nothing crazy to happen, he could have had it the 5th.
Yeah.
He could have had the 8th. He could have had it weeks before. Go ahead.
How do you respond to folks who would suggest that what happened on January 6th, folks would suggest that on...
cars and shit going on.
Yeah, you got a lot going on. How would you respond to folks who would suggest that the reason January 6th protesters got out of hand is that there were either liberal sympathizers that instigated the crowd or FBI or something like that?
Once again, that doesn't defeat my last statement. If you had it on the 5th, what the fuck would have happened? Even if they were there.
Yeah.
What would have happened? Nothing.
Yeah. So you believe he deliberately picked a 6 to disrupt everything?
Yeah, now granted on the 5th it wouldn't have had no sting.
Yeah.
But it probably wouldn't have been no problems.
Yeah.
But
So,
you wanted the sting, so you got to be.
So is it safe to assume you don't believe the man should be able to be president again?
I don't.
Wow.
But I'm a firm believer that you get the government that you vote for. I'm totally against the man. They said Obama was a Marxist, leftist, whatever. I'm still here to be an American and talk shit. So,
so it wasn't
the
true.
man's a liability.
Yeah,
no,
so,
it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I do think that Trump's a liability, for all his bond. You said it the other day, the unpredictability is a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it very much is. But in regards to you pointing out, they said Obama was a Marxist and we still have freedom. They also said that Trump was a racist and he was trying to tear apart democracy, but we're still here and there is still democracy. So were they making up stories on Trump?
I wouldn't say so, because as far as I know, that no one that worked with Obama or known him from college called him a Marxist. But the people that work with Trump, you interviewed one of them that said he's a downright racist.
Yeah, Cohen. Yeah, I interviewed Cohen. He did say that. Wow. Yeah. So what about yourself? Do you see observing Trump from a distance as a citizen, as a voter? Do you believe Trump is racist?
I used to say that he's racially insensitive. And I still probably feel that way. But at the same time, if you're intelligent, you don't do the same dumb shit twice. So at some point, if you're trying to get this vote, you're trying to dispel that notion of yourself, you think you would move a little bit differently. So I think he's racially insensitive and stupid.
Stupid, but folks believe that he was one of the best presidents we've ever had.
Beliefs are good. You may believe in God, but I bet your ass can't walk on water.
All right, Furback, I can't argue with that. I appreciate it. What do you say if you're not stupid, you don't do the same shit twice?
Yeah, that's what they say, man. You don't blame the dog for biting you the first time, but you blame yourself if he bites you again.
I swear to God, I thought that to myself walking out of divorce court, but it happens. It happens. Appreciate it, Furback. Anytime, come on back through.
Love your show, bro. Keep doing it.
Appreciate it, man. Looking in the comments, but you vote for Biden twice. Pretty stupid answer. User, let me just say this, and I've said it before. And by the way, tap the screen. Get me on up to 120,000. You guys are participating. My TikTok viewers, smash that like button on YouTube. Homeboy sounds like Mali. Who is Mally Mark Connor? Don't know who that is. There are a lot of stupid people in powerful places that do great things every day. Rockin'. Thank you for the confetti. Thank you for the support on the show, Rockin'. Now, the idea, but you voted for Biden. Voted for Biden twice. Pretty stupid answer. I would submit to you in the comments there, user 15 without an actual name. I don't think anybody voted for Biden twice. I've said it before in the program numerous times. They're not voting for Biden. They're voting against Trump twice. Any vote that Biden gets, I think it's safe to assume now that's probably about an 80% chance that any vote Biden gets is actually an anti-Trump vote. If you were to interview anybody voting for Biden and ask them, which passion are you more likely to be behind? Making sure Trump is never president or making sure Biden is president? They're voting against Trump. I would submit to you, you could replace Biden with the likes of Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, and a host of other well-known liberals, and those same people would be there. They're not voting for Biden. They're voting against Trump. They're voting against Trump. So you say it's dumb to vote for Biden twice. They're not voting for Biden twice. They're voting against Trump for a second time. And you can take that as dumb or as intelligent or whatever you want to fill in the blank with. Did you see the gathering of people in New York for Trump? And the union is now for Trump. And they can serve themselves and they consider themselves Democrats. I mean, real quick, I will say this. Southern Green on YouTube. in my opinion, I can't imagine in 2024 unions voting for a Republican president. I could be wrong. I'm often wrong. That's why a lot of you folks get to correct me every day. But at the end of the day, I don't see how a union fighting on behalf of workers' rights at the bottom down there would be support. The Republican Party is woefully anti-union. In fact, all of the strongest unions are in liberal states. I don't see how that makes sense. That a New York union would get behind Trump. What do you think he's going to do for your union if he becomes president? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Looking in the comments, the union is not for Trump. That's the made-up excitement y'all do. Oh, excrement. Okay. All right, correct that one. Yeah, now, I see in the comments, fellow TikToker says the border union is for Trump. That makes sense because the border union is not fighting necessarily just on behalf of South. They're fighting for protection of the border. And I think many folks believe that the border would be better protected under Trump. I am in that camp. I do believe immigration would be curtailed or addressed far more stronger under Trump than under Biden, because I personally believe Trump is so much against those folks that he would be willing to commit crimes to make sure the border is secure. Now, the idea of, well, we don't have an issue with immigrants, just come here legally. No, I believe Trump would also limit the ways you can come here legally as well. He is totally against migration from the southern border, legally or otherwise. So I believe that he would really, really strengthen security at the border so you couldn't come here illegally, and he would make it hard as hell to come that way legally. So I absolutely believe Trump would be better at securing the southern border. It would be really locked down. Didn't he say something like, we can't take anymore, we're full? He wanted a Muslim ban. I mean, some of the things he said was clearly attacking legal immigration as well. What else did he talk? He passed the COVID law. Ginger, thank you for the graphic there, Ginger. I didn't see what that was, but thank you very much. Yeah, he passed a lot of laws making it harder to come here legally, as well as tackling the illegal migration. So you would have a far, far more fortified southern border under Trump. And like I stated, I believe he would go up to and including violating the Constitution to secure it, such as, didn't he talk about moats with poisonous animals, a minimum 5 years in prison for anybody coming in illegally? He was pretty damn hard. I'm talking like Stalin type shit. The border would be way more secure under Trump. I don't know if you would like what he's doing, but you would certainly get a lot less people coming in here. And what about the northern border? Well, the northern border's fine. There's no issue from Trump. I don't think he's really ever criticized what's coming across the northern border. So I don't think he would do much about the northern border, but you would probably not be able to come here across the southern border hardly at all. It would really, really drop to a trickle. And he could just use the excuse where there's so many people in the country now, we can't take any more till we figure out what we have here, which would go on for decades. It would take, we got 10, 15, 20 million people in the country that are undocumented. Until we figure out what's going on with that, we can't take anymore. Well, by the time you get done with all of that, we'll be in the 2040s. Looking in the comments. I would love to collab with you. Give me a follow to message an idea. We'll make you march. Send me an inbox. Laugh on Moats, man. Get a sense of humor. Snakes to maybe clone dinosaurs. Tim, I'm not making that up. He did actually. There are people close to Trump, and I understand anything negative about President Trump is automatically assumed to be a lie or made up. But just like the claims about the shithole countries, people don't believe that because it came. Well, there are people that are close to him that actually stated that he suggested, what about building some type of moat, putting in dangerous wildlife so that people crossing the border would have an additional hurdle, one that could potentially be lethal. There are folks that said he said that. I mean, if you support Trump, you don't believe it, but it did come out. Going back to the box, JC, appreciate you holding on there, JC. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Immunity. for number 45. Let's see if the box brings them up. That's your president, MAGA, Furback. Do you think he said it? Contractor here and even in West Virginia, we are having massive problems getting crews together. I'd hire them, says Paul. In West Virginia, huh? You'd hire immigrants in West Virginia is really red. West Virginia is really red. So if you hire the immigrants, I don't know. I will say this, having trouble with the box, so we'll give it the box a moment to time out. But one of the things you don't notice in the fight to curtail illegal immigration, very few people voice any anger to all the American co-conspirators that are involved in the illegal immigration crisis, other than liberals and sanctuary cities. But these folks are getting hired by people. If you don't want folks coming here illegally, migrate to America, why not go after the people who are giving them jobs, the farmers, the hotels, the construction sites, the factories? Is it possible that the people who own those businesses are supporting your cause? So you can't go after them, so you just blame it on a lowly immigrant. But when they catch these folks in the desert, there are shows, Border Patrol. I've seen a few of those shows on Nat Geo that show people getting caught. Oftentimes they have resumes and shit on them. They have addresses and applications. They know where they're going. If you catch an immigrant and he has an address to a business in Milwaukee or in Minnesota somewhere, why not go to that business and ask, why do immigrants already know to come there? Well, it's possible maybe the owner of that business is supporting your party, so you ignore it. They're not coming here just to get welfare and free health care. They're getting jobs. We can parade the surviving family members of someone who lost their life to an illegal immigrant as a campaign tool. Why not mention how many folks that are Americans, businessmen, CEOs, corporations, that you completely put out of business for hiring illegals? If you really want to do something about the problem, go after the source. They're coming to work for these people. You rarely, if ever, hear that. Looking in the comments, many of those pointing fingers have housekeepers from the undocumented immigrants pool. I definitely believe that. Trump would have never sent out tax dollars aboard like egghead Biden is. Well, first of all, the idea that Biden is sending out tax dollars excludes all the Republicans that believe that should be done as well. By the way, before I go back to the box, other than MAGA, literally everyone else on the political scale believes we should be helping out the Ukraine. Everyone else. I'm talking about, like I say, left of Bernie Sanders, Democrats, liberals, progressives, independents, libertarians, conservatives, Republicans. Only when you hit the far right and hit MAGA do you find folks who say that's not a bad idea. That's not a good idea. Everyone else, with the exception of MAGA, believes that money should be going to help the Ukrainians. In fact, when they were running for the presidential nomination, all 9 of them, from Ron DeSantis to Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, Vivek, all of them raised their hand when asked 2 questions. One was, would you have done what Mike Pence did and refused to certify the election? None of them agreed. They all said they would have done exactly what Mike Pence did. So none of them believe Trump won the 2020 election either. But in regards to helping out the Ukrainians, they all said they would do it. Vivek and Ron DeSantis were a little bit hesitant, not wanting to risk the loss of the MAGA crowd. But at the end of the day, they all said that we need to help the Ukraine. It is only MAGA that has that opinion. Going back to the box, thank you for tapping the screen. I don't know what happened with my last guest, but we'll try it with another one. BXX Live. Good afternoon. Maybe not. We tried to bring up a guest. The box is always like this. Real quick in the comments. Y'all should read Agenda 47. It's brilliant. Brilliant how? How much kickbacks do they get? How much kickbacks do who get? I don't think there's any way to be a politician without getting some type of a pseudo kickback. I don't care if it's a damn book deal or a position on the board of some, everybody gets a kickback. I don't think that, you think Trump is not getting kickbacks to some degree, having dignitaries play on his golf courses and things like that and charge them a premium? His daughter got 200 Chinese patents. Everybody that serves in Washington gets a kickback to some degree or another. Everyone, every single one of them. Why would you go otherwise? You can make more money in the private sector. They all get a kickback. That's not unusual. We'll try it again with Mayhem. I don't know what happened with BXX Live, but yeah, everybody in Washington gets a kickback. And if you went there, you would get one too. This is why we got to stop the lobbyists. We need to have term limits. How many times do I have to say term limits is ridiculous? As a citizen, you have term limits already. If you don't want, let's take a blood red state like Kentucky. It's completely Republican on the national level. If you don't want Mitch McConnell to keep serving, just don't vote for him. You don't need the feds to tell you what you already have the power to do. Californians, it's a blue state. If you don't want Nancy Pelosi to keep getting elected, don't vote for her. You don't need the federal government to come in and tell you you can't do something. Just don't do it. You can't control yourself at the ballot? I just can't control the urges to vote for Mitch McConnell. Please, somebody take the pen out my hand. You don't need the government to tell you. Already have that power. If you give the government power to give you term limits, what else are they going to do to you? Just don't vote for the guy. Nobody's forcing you to keep voting the same dude in over and over again. Looking in the comments, you act like it isn't rigged and corrupt. You're going to tell me the system is so rigged, you want the FBI to come in, and now that'll undo the rigging? I thought we didn't trust the FBI. Are we changing our tune now? Make this make sense to me somehow. Somehow, some way, make this make sense. The system is rigged, which is, by the way, controlled by the FBI. But if we bring the FBI and give them more control, it'll be unrigged. Really? That makes sense. Okay. Foddy Dog, I'm having a hell of a time bringing folks up in the box. SCOTUS term limits. You may have to get around, hang on a second, Foddy Dog, to get around the heavily Republican Supreme Court. It wouldn't surprise me if a liberal starts suggesting SCOTUS term limits. That wouldn't surprise me. Foddy Dog 2, good afternoon. Foddy Dog 2. All right, I brought up somebody that apparently is not there. All right, we'll move it on. We'll go to Rod 1024, talking about immunity for President Trump. The box is just problematic today. He got a lot of background noise. Yeah, my last caller did, but he wasn't even there as well. So we'll move it on. In the box, I see BX. We'll let the box time out. BXX Live. But thank you folks for tapping the screen. 140. One of the other questions I asked while we were waiting for the box to time out, the other question was, and this is just something for fodder. Which party, Republican and Democrat, I'm assuming you want to throw in another party, you can, but Republican and Democrat, which party do you believe works in the best interest of the typical working man or woman? Which party, the Republicans or Democrats, works in the best interest of the typical working man or woman? I see a lot of folks saying Dems. Be curious to see what's on the YouTube side. Handsome Liberal, you're starting to glitch on my side. Anyone here on YouTube? See, everybody else is saying MAGA officially is not a party. So when I say which party works on behalf of the working man, now that could change. MAGA could officially become. I do believe if Trump wins in November, MAGA will be a party. I think the Republicans, if Trump wins again, is on the way out. But if Trump loses, the Republicans are going to look like Germany around 1946. It's going to be messy because everyone's going to be vying to figure out what direction we go in. And with Trump still out there calling everybody rhinos and shit, it'll be a mess. So Trump needs to win, or the Republican Party is going to be in disarray. Looks like most folks on TikTok believe that the Democrats are the best party for the working man and woman. All right, fair enough. Let's try it again with BXX Live. You took the little bus to school, says Queen S. All right, fair enough. I need my space. I took up all the seats on the bus. BXX, good afternoon.
What's up, bro?
Not much at all. So, talking about immunity for number 45, what say you?
No, absolutely not. I don't know if MAGA or Republicans understand that if you do that, eventually a Democrat is going to win the presidency. Eventually a Republican is going to win the presidency. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Do you really want that? Do you really want us to say Joe Biden now has complete immunity? Yeah. It's a stupid argument on his face. I watched the CBS Live today, and they arguing the immunity. On his face, it's ridiculous, because even if Trump lawyers say, okay, well, Congress will have to impeach him to go through a criminal trial, My girl Ketanji Brown said, well, basically that's ridiculous, because if he has complete immunity, how could you ever impeach him and bring him up on criminal charges?
I heard her say that. I did hear her say that.
It doesn't make sense. But everything they say on his face doesn't make sense. They can't explain to you why they hate Biden. They really can't even explain why they like Trump. Just, it's like a bravado thing.
I don't know about that, BXX. I think they can easily tell you why they hate Biden and why they love Trump. I think I could do that.
It's not real. Most of the time, it's not real. It's their imagination. It's what Trump has given his people and these set of people allowance to say what they've always wanted to say, even to their own detriment.
But I want to question.
And they didn't get a tax cut.
Okay, wait a minute. I want to question you on that. But before I do, thank you, Gen Xer. You like that? I need my space. She said I ride on the small bus. I need my space. Give me the whole damn bus. Thank you, Gen X, for that super chat. So you say that Trump gave them the permission to say what they've always wanted to say. What have they always wanted to say? America first?
They've always wanted to say, black man, Latino man, woman, stay in your place. That's what they've always wanted to say to the core of them. Even when you talk about securing the border, he will secure the border for people of color. He didn't want Muslims to come. He didn't want this people to come. Oh, but Swedish people? Oh, come on. We'll get the people from the good countries. What kind of flack and knacking? Come on.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm going to assume the answer is pretty obvious. Do you see Trump as being racist or intolerant?
Trump is an opportunist.
Okay.
So if the opportunity is for him to show racism to get a set of people to agree with him, that's what he will do. Remember, this is the same person who said, if I ever ran for president, I'd run Republican because they're stupid. They just listen to Fox and you can tell them anything. This is what the man said.
Yeah. You don't think
is that disputable? You can't dispute that.
No, it's not disputable. He did say that, but do you think that's true? You don't think Republicans are stupid, do you?
No. I'm not gonna say
I gotta ask.
I'm gonna take that back a little bit. If you agree with that MAGA theory, you're pretty stupid. I'll say that.
What is the theory?
The theory is just that. Stay in your place. We want to go back to a time where we were here and you were there. I don't want to give you the opportunity to progress. I'm scared I'm losing power. I'm scared I'm losing and I will be a minority. What do you think we're going to do? Enslave you?
So you're telling me that you believe MAGA supports or believes in replacement theory.
Exactly. They really do. That because they have no other reason. I mean, think about it logically. When you listen to them, there's nothing logical. Most of these people will tell you, they'll still say Biden isn't the president. That's not Biden. It's the actor.
I get that, but I don't want to say most people say that. I do get a few folks who do believe that Biden. I got a guy that regularly calls in things Biden was executed. So was Hillary Clinton. But most of them don't believe that. Most of them don't.
Most of them don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any of them I see that they do. But, I'll bring up this point, too. You know what kills me is when they say, well, Trump's not a politician. He wasn't a politician.
Yes.
Oh, they like him because, well, you know what? We need politicians. Politician is a job, right?
Right.
You could bring somebody in who's never been in politics, but Trump is now officially a politician. He's a politician. You need politicians. You also need businessmen, right? But you need good businessmen, not businessmen who everything they touch fails.
Oh,
That's where Trump is.
You don't think Trump has ever had a successful business? You think all his businesses fail?
Name one.
He got a lot of successful golf courses.
Come on. That you or I probably couldn't get a membership to.
Well, that may be true, but the people that, but the people that are getting the membership are paying premium to play there. He's making a bunch of money off of it.
And I'm sure there are a lot of Ku Klux Klan men who run successful businesses. You just won't be a part of it.
You putting Trump in the same category with the Triple K?
Oh, man, come on. Yeah, please. In 2024, they in suits and ties. We know this. We know it.
So you paint a grim picture. So if Trump, let's say he does win in November, what do you think America would be like?
You know what? I'll say this. No matter who wins, America is going to be okay, right? I don't believe you need complete immunity because that's just ridiculous. Presidents have functioned without it for 200 years. Yeah. They only need it now to save this guy. We don't need to put in a law that gives somebody complete autonomy and authority to save him. Yeah. You're going to sacrifice the rest of us for one person.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. But I think we'll be okay. Either way, now, as far as minorities, we'll have to fight to get a lot of these things back that he's going to strip. And think about this, bro. Think about this, left or right. Put a Trump in now who doesn't have to worry about running again, right? Who doesn't have to think about black folks, Latinos, nobody. He doesn't have to think about anybody. That's a dangerous man.
But what do you think he's going to? You're saying that he wants to strip us. What do you think he's trying to strip away from black folks or minorities?
I think in order to curry favor, because like I said, to say he's 100% racist, I don't really know that. Like I say, he's an opportunist. But I think if the opportunity comes for him to throw us all under the bus, he could swoop us all up and send us back to Africa. He would, in order to curry favor with everybody else who would make him a king. They already have him as their God. Who puts a man over? A lot of these people say he can shoot somebody. I'll still vote for him.
No, he said he can shoot somebody. He said it.
Yeah, and they agree. Wow. You've made this man your God. Do you really want somebody like that?
I'm hoping you're wrong. I gotta move it on. I gotta bring on. I'm gonna bring on the I'm gonna bring on the antithesis of you, but I do appreciate you coming on. BXX, always welcome back. All right, moving the program on. Made Trump your God. He had a lot to say. I kind of want to. I'm about to say I kind of want to cry after hearing that. Hopefully he's wrong. Hopefully, the one and only Clinton Walston. I'm real curious. Tell me that's wrong. Tell me that's wrong. Clinton, tell me he got it wrong. What say you?
Oh, he's got it all wrong.
Okay. Trump gets reelected. What do you think America would be like?
It would be a hell of a lot better than what it is.
Okay. What about the claim that he's seeking immunity? You think he needs immunity? To be given immunity?
I don't think he needs immunity. It's funny that all these cases come up and it's all Democratic people doing it in Atlanta and New York and all this other, and it's awful funny that all come up when he decided to run for election. It's all just it's campaign. It's witch hunt. I don't care what anybody says. If you can't see that, you blind as damn Helen Keller.
Well, when you say it's a witch hunt, so you think he is 100% innocent of everything they're charging him with?
No, ain't nobody 100% innocent.
Then it's not a witch hunt.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying what I'm saying is, you know, okay, look at it this way. Let me flip the script for just a minute and I'll come back to you. All right, look at it this way. Joe Biden's giving Ukraine all kind of money. His son had wrong dealings with Ukraine. What's to say they ain't using our tax dollars to keep Ukraine hushed about all the dirty dealings Joe Biden and his son was doing? I mean, it's funny that money's going to the one country out of all the countries in the world. Now it's going to that one country that his son had dealings with.
But you do understand a whole lot of Republicans are in favor of that money going there too.
I think there's a lot of crooked-ass Republicans too.
Well, you got to show evidence of that. I mean, at the end of the day,
well, I mean, yeah.
Do you believe, let me ask you, do you believe, unlike Republicans and Democrats, do you believe the Ukrainians should be left on their own to fall to Russia?
I think if you're our allies and you get into it, I think we should help you fight the war, maybe guns, maybe tanks, maybe, supplies. Fuck that money situation. That's coming out of the taxpayers' dollars.
Well, we're not sending the Ukraine money. We're sending them exactly what you said, guns and supplies. We're not sending them money. We're sending them weapons.
So you're saying that 160 million or 260 something $million, that ain't none of that foreign aid, none of that's money.
No, what good is money on the battlefield? No, it's weapons and supplies.
Yeah, but they can buy the weapons they need. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if these countries, that's like Taiwan. Taiwan's like what, maybe the 6th or 7th richest country in the world. Let them fight their own shit. We got shit to do here at home.
So at the end of the day, am I getting it correct? You would rather let the Ukraine be to their own devices and possibly fall to Russia?
I'm good with it. We had to fall to Vietnam, didn't we?
Yeah. So how do you feel about our actual allies that fear Russia taking over Ukraine and then coming on and being a problem to them, that wants us to deal with this before it gets out of hand?
Well, there's a certain time and a certain place for everything. We all know this. Okay? That's just like Germany. That's just like Hitler. Hitler tried to take over the damn whole world. Yeah, gather your groups up, whoop ass, and call it a day. These other countries get into it because you think about this. That's just like Iraq and all that other places. Everybody wants to get into it with the U.S. or get U.S. involved because then when you blow the shithole apart, guess what? They build it back better than it was. So they getting a free-ass country built back on the taxpayers' dollar. That's why everybody wants America involved in every damn little thing.
Clinton, free country or not, people are dying by the thousands. You don't get them back.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing about it too. When we went to Vietnam, did we get our people back? We shouldn't even been in that shit. That was a bullshit war.
No, I don't disagree. We shouldn't have been in Vietnam, but we're talking about now, though. You believe the Republicans and Democrats that all believe we should support the Ukraine. You believe they're all crooked.
Dude, say that again. You kind of cut out.
You said the Republicans and Democrats, we both admit traditional Republicans, not MAGA, traditional Republicans and Democrats that support helping the Ukraine, you believe they're all corrupt.
I think the ones that support Ukraine I think the one that supports the Democrats are. If you're going to be a damn Democrat. You don't go out here and call a damn fish a chicken. You don't go out here and call a whale a damn bird.
Whoa! You're telling me a fish can't identify as a chicken? You never heard the phrase "tastes like chicken"?
Well, if it tastes like chicken and it lays a damn egg or it crows in the morning, by God, it's a chicken in my book.
All right, fair enough. So
I got one thing to say real quick. That guy, the last caller, he said I believe you asked him to name one company that was successful under Trump. What about the Trump Towers?
Yeah. Well, Letitia James wants to take claim to that, though. I don't know. What is it?
That's a bunch of horse shit. Go ahead.
Well, she's claiming the man lied on a bunch of documents out there in New York, though.
Okay, I've been wanting to say this. I believe it. Now, don't hold me to this, but there was a talk show host. He's a Democrat. His name is, I believe, Connor O'Brien, late night.
Conan O'Brien.
Late night with Conan O'Brien. He did the same fucking thing that Trump done, lied on the shit to get a loan. And guess what? He ain't in the damn courts. They don't give a shit because he's not running for president.
But you know something? Here's one thing I will say about that. Let's say, for instance, what Conan said is true and what you're saying is true. When we give Trump credit for draining the swamp and exposing things, even if you don't want the guy locked up, he is exposing a loophole that exists for the rich that maybe we need to get rid of. Why is it that they can lie on?
I agree with that.
Yeah. So,
100%. I
Yeah.
agree with, because I work for a guy who's made, in the last 25 years, he's made millions upon millions upon millions off of hardworking people's back. And I understand this is a red state. You got to understand down south, cost of living is cheaper, the wages are cheaper than up north. We all know that. But this guy right here lives in a multi-million-dollar house, got an elevator in some bitch, built every one of his kids' three daughters, like at least a $550,000, $600,000 house, but he can't give a damn 50-cent cost of living raise. If any politician, and I'm saying this, any Democrat, Republican, it don't make a shit. If they cared about it, it's in both parties. I'm not knocking the Democrats or Republicans. I'm just telling you, both parties, they need to sit their ass down and they need to say, okay, to a certain point, these people need at least like maybe a 50-cent cost of living raise a year. Because what that would do is that would help the economy, because more money make more money spend. And what that would do in turn is get more people out of poverty. Okay, if you spent 10 years working for a person, you made $5 extra an hour. What the hell is that to a millionaire?
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, Clinton, you sounding awfully liberal, because that's the only reason the minimum wage is not increased is the Republicans. Look at the states in this country where the minimum wage is the lowest, or where it has had the least amount of movement. It's Republican states.
Red states.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it costs, you know, all your liberal states is up, like New York, Chicago, California. They're all out west and up north, but it costs a shitload more to live up there.
Yeah, but that doesn't excuse a zero increase. I mean, even if it's cheap to live in Mississippi, that doesn't excuse keeping the minimum wage the same for 15, 20 years. I mean, that is...
Yeah, but I mean, many people don't work for minimum wage. You know, it was $7.25 an hour most places before it bumped up in like California, places like that. But okay, who in the hell can live off $7.25? That's what I'm saying. I mean, most people are going to make $10.50, $12.50, $13 an hour. Yeah. It's not going to be that minimum wage. And the thing about it is nothing.
And that's the thing is when corporations do not want to pay their employees properly, they move their business to Republican states because they can get away with that stuff. Whether it's South Dakota or down in Tennessee or somewhere, they know if you go to a Republican state, the Republican government is going to be more in favor of you as a business owner than those employees.
Exactly, and it's all under one word: greed.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's being supported by your party, man. It's being supported by your party.
You know, I agree, but I like the Republican Party, Maga, because, I mean, I think America should be first. If anybody don't think America should be first, I don't give a damn if it's Republican, Democrat. If they don't think America should be first, they should be in another damn country.
But here's the issue I have with that. And I think a lot of folks would agree we should treat Americans first. But how can you be against universal health care, tuition forgiveness, minimum wage increase, and at the same time saying you for America first? Everything I named would predominantly help Americans. You're against all of the policies that'll help out Americans while yelling America first. Make that make sense.
Okay. I agree with the minimum wage increase, but the thing about it is you're going to have to bump that son of a bitch up to more than $7.25 or $10.50 or anything like that. You're going to have to go, you know, $14.50, $15 an hour to get these people that's lower wage than I am up to that. For one, that'll help a lot. Okay. Two, the other thing you counted on was I don't think that if you go to college, there's a lot of people, they said 40% of people go to college, drop out. Okay. 40% don't even make it. Right. Okay, here's the thing. I know people who spent 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years trying to get through college and shit. And then when they're like, let's just say a teacher, you go 3 or 4 years, whatever, you know, you got to go to be a teacher, 2 or 3 years. All right. Then they promise them jobs are out here, and then they come and they can't get a job. Then they got to go back to college, get more money, and then they study again and get another degree in something else, and the field's not out there. There's no jobs out there for that. I think what it is, they ought to make a law, the colleges ought to be held to a standard. If they take money for that, you know, that student, that they should turn around and have to turn around and guarantee them a job, that field is open. Because I know people right now that's in the nursing field, and they just totally disgusted with it. And I may want it worked at Hardee's. And wow. I mean, you know, yeah, you're going to make a bunch of money. I mean, I can go out here right now and I can move to South or North Carolina, make $100 an hour and $100 a day for them pipe welding. Well, guess what? I can't. I got kids. I can't do it right now, but when my kids are growing up.
But here's the problem. Let's go with what you said. that the colleges should be held accountable for the degrees they give out, and if they don't make the kind of money they're promising, then they should be held accountable. The only way to enforce that is by utilizing government to pass laws. It is your party that is against government oversight. You guys believe that the free market should be able to reign supreme without government interference. The only way you're going to get what you want is with big government, and you're against big government as well.
I like a lot of like Trump's policies or Reagan's policies, stuff like that. That's what keeps me in the Republican race on that side. I'm not saying Democrats ain't got good universal health care. Obama, he helped a lot of people. I will 100% agree with that. And all these companies tell these people, oh hell, that Obamacare, that shit ain't worth a damn. That ain't the bullshit. I know people that's on it.
Yeah, all right. And by the way, I will say this, Rand Man in the comments, we're talking about tuition forgiveness. Rand Man said, tuition forgiveness, you must be insane. Who's going to pay for it if the student does it? We were able to find in a short period of time millions of dollars to pay for Trump's legal fees. But some kid going to college, you're telling him go to hell, huh? This is what we're talking about, folks. It's stuff like that. Go ahead, Clinton.
Well, here's the way I see this. Everybody's not cut out for college. A lot of kids go to college just to try to get an easy job, make a lot of money. Okay, let's just say a registered nurse or nurse practitioner. 125,000 a year. You can't tell me if somebody else is fitting that bill to put that person through college, and they turn around and just party and fuck off and don't do their chores and don't do their reading and don't do their math and their courses and stuff. You can't sit here and tell me, they're not going to try for something else, and then that's just that much more money. But if they get out there and make some kind of law or saying, okay, here's what we'll do, after 5 years of you making good money, 5 years at $125,000, that's $600,000. If I'm not, my math's correct. Maybe a higher over if overtime, whatever. Let's just do this. Let's just say, okay, your tuition, needs to be paid 3/4 of it back, or at least half of it back. Why is it right that the U.S. taxpayers pay for everybody else to go to college when I wasn't smart enough to go to college? It's not my fault I'm not smart enough. I'm smart enough to do any kind of welding and certified in any damn welding, but they can't do that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get your point. I got to move it on, but I think it's because many folks believe an educated nation is better off. Even if those who want to get an education, the nation would be better off with more educated people in it. I think that's why people believe that. I'll give you the last word, though, Clinton.
I'll tell you this, and I've been wanting to say this for over a month. I'm going to tell you this first, real quick. I've met a lot of educated idiots in my life that couldn't even work a damn weed eater. Common sense overrides the hell out of a damn piece of paper you get from college. All right, now, saying that, I'm not saying they're all dumb, but most of them pretty damn dumb, can't walk and chew gum. All right, now, I will say this. Everybody and this is for the Democrats. I am MAGA, but I will give you this, and I'm going to put something in your head. Everybody wants to say, Trump drilled and he got to, talk to OPEC and all that, got the gas down, shit, yes, it was lower under that, but everybody wants to say the president had something to do with the gas. Hell no, it don't. He can make suggestions in certain companies, but look at all the damn electric cars that's been sold. Look at all the electric cars. You don't think there's a lot less gas being used now? So what it is, the damn OPEC is feeling the pinch now of not selling enough gas on account of electric cars, so they're jacking their damn prices up. There you go.
There we go. You did give me one. So in other words, you're saying it's not Biden's fault. They are jacking the prices up. I like it, Clinton.
It's not any president's fault, because if you sold 500,000, let's say 500,000, let's say 1 million over the United States electric cars, that is several 100 million gallons not used monthly or yearly. Okay, how in the hell can anybody argue that the gas prices, OPEC don't want it, just like buying loaf bread, buying groceries, it goes up but it never goes down. Well, when there ain't nobody using as much gas, guess what they do? They jack the damn price up. There you go, brother. Happy birthday.
Hey, thank you very much, Clinton. Always a pleasure. Hey. I swear to God, Clinton should be a liberal. I'm listening to some of the things he believes in. Clinton, I don't know, Clinton. You really sound like you should be a liberal, in my opinion. Maybe I'm hearing it wrong, but Clinton always is welcome on the program. Certainly a friend of the program. But I want to say one other thing. in regards to our discussion about tuition forgiveness, he mentioned, colleges not putting out a decent education. It came up about folks dropping out of school, and now all of a sudden you got this large amount of debt. Or some people bring up taking up bullshit degrees like liberal arts and journalism and things like that. Here's the issue I have, and this is why I say that the Republicans and the Democrats have a total different view of how they view the lower and upper class. When you talk to Democrats, they are skeptical of the rich. They made their money on the backs of poor people. They're always scamming, they're price gouging, you name it. And the Republicans are exactly the same with the poor. They're very skeptical of poor and favorable to the rich. You give a rich person a tax cut, well, it's going to create jobs for us all. Trickle down, rah, rah, rah. The more you do for rich people, the more they're going to do for all of us. I've never got a job from a poor person. But when you talk about helping out the poor, the Republican side of the aisle, the skepticism comes out the same way the Democrats view it when you're helping the rich. Like when we're talking about college tuition, most of the counterpoints are negative. Well, if we give him money, he's going to drop out, or he may take up a bull. I mean, there's no assumption that if you give people free tuition, they're going to do what's right. They're going to go out and get a good job, make good money, pay good taxes, contribute to society. Most of the counterpoints is all something bad is going to happen. Just like, and this applies also to many folks who are against welfare or against really any type of handout or assistance to people at the bottom of the socioeconomic scale. If you do something for them, they're going to respond negatively. If I give up a single mom a little bit of help in the form of food stamps, well, she's going to just create more kids. There's never the assumption that if you do something for somebody at the bottom, they actually might do something good. Maybe while she's receiving the food stamps and welfare, she's also going on to college online and bettering herself. It's always assumed that if you help somebody out at the bottom, they're going to go out and buy drugs with the money. They're going to smoke weed. I mean, it's always assumed to be negative. That's why it is difficult to get social programs for people at the bottom. Now, like I said, on the Democratic side, they have the same mindset to the rich. If you give tax cuts, tax breaks, or any type of benefits to the rich, the assumption is they're going to do something negative. But the Democrats are totally open to helping out the poor. It's almost as if poor people committing welfare fraud and things like that don't even exist. The Democrats are going to be like, help them out no matter what. And it does leave the system open for some people to commit welfare fraud and things like that. But the Republicans, their whole spiel against doing it is they go first for where everybody's going to fraud the system. So the parties view rich and poor exactly the opposite. And that is also why some folks refer to Republicans as defenders of the rich. But you can take it any way you will. It's my job to make sure my kids are paid through, not everyone else's. I don't know y'all. Well, no, it's not your job to take care of other people's children. But is it my job to build a new stadium for some sports team coming to town? Because they've convinced the mayor that if you let them come to town, they're going to create jobs. I'm not going to work there. Why should they get a free stadium and not pay taxes, which is going to trickle down to me, making my taxes go up a percentage? I don't work there. So the same argument could be made either way. So I want to point that out. Anytime some type of benefit goes to the wealthy, that money has to be made up from somewhere. Let's take President Trump's tax break that will expire for us, but continues on for them. They used to receive money before Trump gave that tax break. That money has to be made up. It has to come from somewhere. Now that they're not paying taxes, that money needs to be made up coming from somewhere. It's going to come from you and me. It's going to come from you and me. So that argument could be made either way. You don't want to take care of some poor person that has children. So instead you take care of the Astros or some team moving to your town, convincing the mayor to build them a new multi-million-dollar stadium. That's what happens. That's exactly what both sides are taking your money. I would rather it go to somebody who cannot make money on their own. But maybe I got it backwards. Looking in the comments, we should pick and choose how much to put in taxes and where to put it, since it's our money. Tiger Man Beast, we kind of do that already. That's why you vote in certain politicians. But if you allowed the people to literally itemize every single tax and decide where they would put, there would be, most of the programs for the poor would not receive any money at all. Fact is, Americans, as I say all the time, being capitalists, we don't really believe in just giving. We want something back for our money. That's why a lot of folks are in favor of giving tax cuts to the wealthy, because they believe it comes back in the form of something. There's no benefit to giving money to the poor. That's why there's less of a desire to do it. Giving money to the Ukraine, for instance, there's benefits to that. We get to eventually come back and claim favors for the, I mean, there's no denying that if the Ukraine actually is able to push Russia out of their country, they're going to owe huge favors to the United States. Maybe we get access to bases, airspace, intelligence. We're going to benefit from that. Helping out homeless people comes with no benefit at all. That's why nobody wants to do it. That is why you don't have any stomach to college tuition, you name it. People don't see any benefit to it. And that's what would happen if you allow people to decide where their tax money goes. You think people don't help out the poor now, it would get way, way worse. And by the way, I mean, I hate to throw the racial argument into it. Now you're talking about really being able to discriminate. I mean, if I get decide where my money goes, and I don't like a certain group of people, I don't want to contribute to any rec centers in their community. Hell, I don't give a damn about even fixing the potholes in their community. I mean, it allows you to do all of that. That's why they don't have that, because yeah, if you could decide where your tax money went, it would really be bad. It would really be bad. Anyhow, I do appreciate the 150,000 likes. You know how the program is always ran, uncensored in its entirety, always MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, it is that time. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. We'll catch you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central, as usual. Thank you, folks, on TikTok. Hey, my favorite fatty, bestie. Thank you. People love their dogs more than people. That's true, Frederick. That is true. There are folks who would rather pay money to get their dog. I mean, I've heard people talking about paying for cancer treatments for dogs. They would rather pay that than to help some homeless person out or have money go towards college tuition or something like that. There's no desire to help people out in this country. It really isn't. It's all about capitalism, all about me. How much more can I make? There is very little desire to do that. That's why so many folks are downtrodden. Yeah, there's a few people here or there that's going to step up. Well, I do this and I do that. Yeah, but there's not enough of you. That's why we have this problem. Capitalism is exactly that. It's about me. The moment you talk about helping out the downtrodden, what do you hear all the time? You just saw it today. Who's going to pay for it? As the other person said, I take care of my kids. You should take care of your own. I don't want to help you. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps like I did. Figure it out. That is the American way. I got mine. You get yours. There's just no desire to help out others. So it is what it is. Nevertheless, I appreciate you folks tuning in on YouTube as well. 57 on those tapping the likes. Certainly a pleasure having you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal.